And a happy Friday morning to you. It is Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark, Griffin Bass, Carson Tri-Weekly. Stan the Fan Charles back in studio with us on a Friday. Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you. Good to see all the boys.
I don't know if you got your powdered donut this morning, but there are still some more donuts out there. If
Had
you,
my one,
that's good. You're good. That's the way it goes. I had a couple people ask. We sent young Carson out to the chicken tender store yesterday that opened in Towson. Everybody's freaking out about.
Yeah.
He had to wait in a 75-minute line to get some chicken tenders. I had some people questioning me. Did you really eat those? I said I had one. How was it? The chicken tender itself was fine. The sauce, incredible. The sauce, my God, if they bottled that sauce, I would purchase it by the bathtub. I mean, it's outstanding. The chicken tenders themselves,
the chicken tenders.
They're definitely not bad. But
they're not as good as Chick-fil-A.
No. But that's all right. Everything
Those
has its place.
aren't.
Correct.
Yeah.
Everything has its place. I have no problem with it. Well, I enjoy any business coming to the neighborhood and trying to help out the community and do good things, right? So welcome to the neighborhood. I have no idea yet. No clue, but I'm trying to just say something and move on. And
give them a gold star.
I don't want to
just 13 salute.
I don't want to disparage the chicken tender store because who knows, they might want to be partners of the PressBox at some point in the future. So I don't want to do that either.
I always view every business as a potential partner.
I tend to agree. It's good to see us.
You tend to agree.
Tender to agree. Not bad. Stan the Fan is here. A lot to do on a Friday edition of the program.
This
coming
is
up in
the big Hall of Fame reveal.
This is the big Hall of Fame reveal. We got to get our levels fixed a little bit. We got to do something about that one. I think maybe we turned the master up a bit too much yesterday, Griffin, when we were playing around. We have some new things that we're trying to make work because we've had some funny things going on with the mics in the studio, and there's been a lot happening. So we're trying to get it.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
There's Stan. There's
Testing,
Stan right there, and then Carson I think has the roving mic that we're trying to make sure can work again. So we're working on that. Maybe we should have tested these before the show began. I don't know. Carson, say hello. Say
testing 1, 2, 3.
Carson sounds immaculate. Yeah. God, sounds immaculate.
You all really pretty today too, by the way.
Thank you, Carson.
And Griffin sounds terrible no matter.
Well,
what.
there's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing we can do about it.
I think I sound pretty good today.
Actually, you do, Mr. Bates.
Yes, as Stan points out, coming up a little bit later on in the program, Dave Ginsburg, our friend, longtime AP sports writer here in Baltimore. He's technically retired, but it's technically he still works. Like he still goes out and covers games and writes and things like that, but he's not full time.
A lot more.
Correct.
He's smoking cigars a lot.
There is a lot of that. He's enjoying some lobster a lot more. He's got a good life, Dave Ginsburg.
He deserves a good life.
He has worked hard, no question. We're going to check in with Gins a little bit later on in the show. It's our annual tradition. He will unveil his Hall of Fame ballot. If you want a reminder, last year Dave Ginsburg voted for Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Todd Helton, David Ortiz, Andy Pettit, and Billy Wagner. So, of course, a few of those guys are off the ballot. Ortiz because he got in, Bonds and Clemens because they passed the 10-year marker. So we will see how his ballot changes this year for the Hall of Fame.
Interesting that the leading vote getter to date right now is Scott Rowland,
yes,
correct? With 81%. He's got to hit 75%. And a lot of the naysayers wait until later to get their votes
or don't make their votes public until
late.
I think
so. 81 right now. What's the date? Another 2 weeks?
I believe the announcement, yes, is the week after next.
Okay.
Yes. So we will.
I
to your point,
I think Rowland is going to make it, but he's not a lock.
I get the sense from the folks that do the tracker that they don't think it's a lock at all for Rowland. Or obviously Helton's at 79.1% as well at the moment.
I think Helton is gonna sort of stick right at around that number.
Okay. You don't think he has detractors necessarily?
I don't think there are as many detractors.
See, I think there's a more obvious detraction from Helton, which is Colorado, right? Than there is for Rowland. There's no steroids. You either think he was a Hall of Fame baseball player or not. There's nothing that would immediately disqualify him.
Now, I haven't looked at Helton's numbers for a while, but I remember, obviously, there is a big bias that his numbers were off the charts in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
But I remembered thinking, It's not like he's like a 215, 220 hitter. This Mike again is.
I know. I don't know what's going on with that. We'll clean that up
We'll
when we
have
get
to
the.
throw
Yeah,
it
we'll
away.
we'll clean
throw it away.
that up.
But
Well, we don't know if
anyway.
it's the mic. If we switch chords, this is what doesn't make sense about the whole thing. We got a whole lot of stuff going on, Stan.
That's the brand new chord.
and
though.
just
I think we got to move the studio. I think it's as simple as.
well, you might get your way. You might luck out on all that.
I knew this studio, by the way, was too good to be true.
Right?
We
It
actually
was
had
going
room
way too well.
Where we were like really comfortable.
I got a
here.
funny feeling we're not going to move very far though
Yeah.
when we move. I got a funny feeling it's not going to be very
Why
far.
do I smell sardines?
Well, that's
in our
weird.
future?
That part is very
I
weird.
woke up in the middle of the night last night thinking, sardines.
Do me a favor. Switch mics with Carson. Let me see if we
try
can
this.
identify whether it's the mic or not. We'll go from
Testing,
there. No,
te-
just we're going to switch the actual microphone from the
Right.
course. Keep the cords the same. Just switch. No. Just pull that microphone off of there, Stan, if you don't mind. Like unplug it, and then we'll go that way. We'll tell you in the meantime is that today's show is brought to you by PressBoxOnline.com/offers. PressBoxOnline.com/offers. You can cash in on the Ravens-Bengals primetime wild card game. Go to PressBoxOnline.com/offers. Sign up and bet $20 with Caesars Sportsbook and automatically get $100 in additional free bets. Just bet $20 and get another $100 to play with. Go to PressBoxOnline.com/offers now to start winning. Now, we're going to test this again, see if this might not work. Let's see. Stan.
Testing.
Well, that
testing.
sounds about a billion times
Yeah.
better. I like that.
Sibilance.
Sibilance. Now let's see how Carson sounds.
Testing.
See,
Yeah, it's
Carson's got,
Carson.
it's the mic we are.
It's the mic.
We're
It's the
learning
mic.
there's an issue with the mic, which we did not know before. And that's very weird. We've never had a mic problem. I feel like I had an extra mic around here somewhere, Griffin, if you want to poke around and see if there's either in one of those two or in my bag. See if we can't find a mic. Stan, we're getting ready for Sunday night, of course, around here, coming up on the show as well. Not only are we going to do the Hall of Fame ballot, but also we will check in with our buddy Rocky Boiman. We don't normally do two
Back
straight
to
weeks,
back, yeah.
right? It doesn't normally happen that way, but sure enough, Rocky Boiman from WLW out in Cincinnati.
When
will
you
join us.
called him, did he say, "Oh, come on again"?
Actually, it was the exact opposite this week. Rocky called Griffin
Right.
and asked if I would go on his show
Oh,
this
okay.
week, and then said, "And I'm coming on with you guys again on Friday, right?" And like we had thought, this is
We don't get that often.
straight shoot.
Yeah.
I had actually thought about going a different route because I thought it might
Right.
be too much
Right.
to ask the same guy to do.
Never too much Rocky.
I literally thought like maybe we'd invite Solomon Wilcots on this week, something like that. And then when he asked if he could come on again, I was like, "Well,
What are you going to say?
brother,
No.
brother, by all means."
Right.
I appreciate you. So we'll have Rocky Boiman back on. Of course, Bo will join us as he does every Friday to preview the Ravens side of the matchup. And then, as we mentioned, Dave, where are you, I would say, emotionally as a Ravens fan going into Sunday night?
I'm feeling a little better that Huntley's going to be able to play and hopefully throw the football a few times. When you watch him play, you don't want him throwing all that often, maybe 15, 18 times, something like that. Very disappointed that our quarterback, our number one quarterback, has been a no-show.
Well, what did you make of his statement yesterday?
I mean, look, the natives are restless. The people I talk to really wonder how hurt he is. I think he is. It's unfortunate, and I got to be honest with you. It's almost more the reason that I'm really souring on him is that he failed to look at the possibility of this when he turned down the contract that was in front of him. That there was always going to be this possibility that he'd get hurt and people are going to question it. And I don't know. People assume that they're going to give him $43 million next year, and the cap number will probably go up, won't it?
Oh, the cap number is definitely going up
So
this year by a
it'll
sizable
be
amount. By about
46, 47 million.
well, that wouldn't make that number go up
Okay.
necessarily.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think the whole thing has been handled very poorly on his side, not on the Ravens side.
So on the flip side, right?
Yep.
Well, let me for those that missed it, the statement. I don't know who would have missed it, but the statement, of course, from Lamar Jackson. Thank you, everyone, for your support and concerns regarding my injuries. I want to give you all an update as I am in the recovery process. I've suffered a PCL grade 2 sprain on the borderline of a strain 3. There is still inflammation surrounding my knee, and my knee remains unstable. I'm still in good spirits as I continue with treatments on the road to recovery. I wish I could be out there with my guys more than anything, but I can't give 100% of myself to my guys and fans. I'm still hopeful we still have a chance. So there's a couple of things within there that stand out. The first being, this is the first confirmation that we've gotten that it was a grade 2 instead of a grade 1. That was what a lot of people had said to begin with. A grade 1 would only be like a 1 to 3 week type of injury, whereas a grade 2 would be more significant than that. He says, and again, I don't think that Lamar Jackson actually physically wrote these words, but I don't think it's relevant whether or not he wrote these words, because believe it or not, a lot of people that you follow on Twitter don't write their words exactly themselves either. Yeah. I don't think that's relevant. I think it's somebody writing on his behalf. On the borderline of a strain 3. In talking to some folks within the medical community yesterday, the idea is if he had suffered a grade 3 strain, that's surgery. There's no...
no ifs, ands, and buts.
Right, there's no coming back. So there is, if this is true, and again, this is where the conspiracy theory comes in, like, if this is true, the medical people would say this all checks out. Like, he's trying to push to see if he can get back out on the field, but the reality is he probably never really was going to be able to. The Ravens, if they knew from the get-go, would have preferred saying, well, let's see, than just going ahead and putting him on season-ending IR. They wouldn't have wanted to do that if there was any chance
that he could make
that
it
Lamar
back for the playoffs.
could come back and play. Now, the idea that you could have put him on a 4-week IR and had a roster spot for 4 weeks available, that's questionable going back to that, right? Like, if you knew immediately it was a grade 2 sprain, you could have immediately placed him on IR designated.
And had Aaron Rodgers play for you.
Probably not that. Probably not the way that would have worked out, right? But you at least would have had the option to use a roster spot on somebody else instead of, say, releasing Nick Boyle.
It just boils down to this, Glenn. It's really a very simple fact. I'm not questioning whether Lamar is really hurt legitimately or not, but this is the second straight year he has left his team because of injury in the lurch, okay? And that's not just his 80 guys that he says or he wants to be out there with. He's left the team in the lurch. He's left the whole front office in the lurch. He's left, and it's not by anything that he did on the playing field and getting hurt. But isn't there a light bulb going off and saying, geez, I kind of understand now why they don't want to guarantee all my money over 8 or 10 years. I'll tell you, I think the Ravens have a very difficult situation in front of them because I don't know. Don't you think that his value has gone down this season?
I don't.
Okay.
I think it's I think it's what they want. I think they want this to be the type of thing that makes the value go down, but I think everything we know about how quarterback contracts have worked, it's just not true.
Okay.
The quarterback market is the market. Whatever the situation is, you want to negotiate based around these things. You want these things to be relevant. You want them to matter, but the actual quarterback market is dictated by the desperation of teams that have no quarterback and what they're willing to do because of it. So,
you're fine for the next 3 or 4 years to roll the dice every year that Lamar's going to be able to play.
These are different. Those are different conversations, right? Like
that's what I'm talking about. I think the Ravens are getting to that point where they're going to say, "Geez, even if he now wants to sign the contract that we offered him, this second straight year this guy can't go." Maybe this is going to be something because his legs are really what make Lamar Jackson
I think you have to
such a special player.
You would have to have you would have to have your medical team say to you, is this someone who is going to deal with chronic injuries, or is this something that's happened fluky twice that could happen to any player in the NFL, right? Like that's what you'll have to do internally. The difference being what you're bringing up is relevant in black or white decision of is Lamar Jackson our quarterback or not. But there is no negotiating with quarterbacks about these things. We've seen this over and over and over again. It's why Deshaun Watson, despite everything.
I'm not suggesting that all of a sudden a light bulb's going to go off and Lamar's going to go, geez, okay, you're right. I don't want $350 million anymore because I'm susceptible to injury. That's not going to happen.
Right.
The Ravens, though, don't have to sign Lamar
don't.
Jackson.
Right. They don't. And they at some point can make whatever decision they want to make, and they can attempt to trade him. They can do whatever they want to do. My point always goes back to everybody wants to think that there's you can use these things for negotiations the way that baseball teams do.
I understand, but you think that if they went out 12 months ago and sort of said, hey, we're willing to listen on Lamar Jackson, you're saying that the offer that they'll get today
absolutely
is the same,
without question,
okay.
if not more, right? Like it's just the nature of the quarterback market. Like the desperation of quarterback needy teams is what drives the market. It's looking around and saying the Raiders had somebody that we thought was a quarterback, and they had to move on from that because they're desperate. The Jets are these teams that don't have quarterbacks
that's good news for Eric DeCosta and Steve
if that's the route he's going, right? If the route they're going is to move on from Lamar Jackson, they'll have no problem recouping a great deal for Lamar Jackson. But then you don't have a quarterback. This is always internally the part that we keep coming back to. You can be bothered by all these things. You can think there's some issue with it.
Aaron Rodgers is going to end up in Baltimore.
I don't think it's going to work out that way, my friend. I got bad news. I don't think that's going to be the case. But you have to have a quarterback at the end of the day. Somehow, some way, you've got to have your guys. So if you're bothered by these things, if you think that Lamar Jackson is susceptible to injury and is a risk for some reason.
I'm fairly comfortable saying that at this point.
I would not be comfortable saying that. Okay. I just think too many players get hurt for me to say that because somebody's been hurt twice in their career, that means that there's somehow now a chronic injury risk, which I can't tell you.
Look, when I first met our offensive coordinator, Greg Roman, I asked him the question. The first question I ever asked him at a press conference was, when Lamar runs and he gets outside and he's going down the sideline, and I know he wants to turn a 10-yard run into a 20-yard run, and in his mind he wants to turn it into an 80-yard run, okay, that he wants to break. But I said, wouldn't you be more comfortable with him just getting out of bounds after he's gained 12 to 15 yards? He said, you're basically bringing up the question, is Lamar going to be more susceptible to injury because he runs a lot? He said it's actually more proven that the guys that are in the pocket, they're the guys that get hurt more often. But I've now watched them, and to me, I don't see the same player. And I project a little bit. It's nothing scientific. I project another year or two down the road. And I think this. So
tell me more about what you don't see in the same player. Just what do you mean by that?
I watched the play of Lamar Jackson this year, and I thought his season was a roller coaster. Well, I didn't think he was like fantastic.
He was the MVP of the league until Rashad Bateman got hurt, and then they all fell apart at that point, right? Which. There's a lot of things that go in there.
That's a little early in my mind to say that he's the MVP of the season.
Well, I mean, they certainly don't. They don't give an MVP award for 1 month of the year, but at that point, he was the best player in football for a month of the year, and then Rashad Bateman got hurt.
You're saying that. I'm not saying he was.
If you go back to the betting the markets, he was the MVP of the league at that point. Now, I'm not. Again, I get it. They don't give an MVP award for 1 month of the year, but at that point. He was the betting favorite to be league MVP when Rashad Bateman got hurt. Now, that being said, there's so many layers to this, right? The argument about both the times he's gotten hurt have been in the pocket, right? Like, it's the irony of the argument about Lamar Jackson is that both times he's gotten hurt have been when he's in the pocket, I
don't remember this injury being in the pocket. I remember him rolling outside.
He wasn't running downfield. He was still trying to throw. Yeah. He might have been outside of the pocket, but he was still behind the line of scrimmage trying to make a throw. Yeah. He wasn't downfield running. It wasn't something like that. It's the same thing that we talked. The reason why they will tell you that quarterbacks that are downfield are less likely to get injured is because they see everything that's coming at that point. You can't catch Lamar Jackson from behind. These linebackers are not capable of catching Lamar Jackson from behind. So they'll see anything that's coming in front of them. Whereas when you're trying to make a throw, someone can have curled around from behind you, the famous, Lawrence Taylor idea against Joe Theismann, and you don't know that it's coming, and here's what happens. It's a very compelling situation that faces the Ravens because
they've got an incredibly difficult needle to thread. You've got the emotion of the fans. Do you think the fan base is fully behind going all in on the future with Lamar Jackson, or do you think?
No, I don't think.
Do you think my sentiments are out there?
Oh, they're definitely out there. There's no question that they're out there. I don't know. I couldn't measure, exactly where the percentage is on either side, but there's no doubt that there's a percentage of that. But in the same way, there's a percentage of, a lot of things that exist, right?
Yeah.
Like, except for I don't think you can find many supporters of Greg Roman at the moment. I think that one's gone completely sour. I think that's just about 100-0 at this point.
I would agree with you.
But no, I think that there's plenty of people that exist in the same way. I'm not. It's not even that that I think people are insane that share that opinion, as much as you got to tell me what your quarterback is. You got to tell me what the better plan is than this, and nobody really ever seems to have that notion. It's just, well, I don't think you should be paying $50 million a year in guaranteed money to a quarterback. Fine, but then you think it's Tyler Huntley? Like, you think it's rolled?
It's definitely not Tyler Huntley.
There's no doubt about that.
It's definitely not Anthony Brown.
Right. It's to me, it ain't Derek Carr. It ain't, tell me who it is that you think you're better off rolling out as your quarterback next season. Yeah. Because I understand the argument if we don't like the idea of playing $50 million guaranteed to a quarter. I get the argument, but there's no middle ground here. There's no, well, let's hope we can do it for 30 instead.
I know the salary cap keeps going up, but it's very similar to me to how good the Ravens were until they had to pay Joe Flacco the money. You need that. If you end up paying the man has to play like the man, and I think we'd all agree. I'm not comparing Joe Flacco to Lamar Jackson. Clearly, Jackson is the much more superior player.
Right.
But the point is, you only have so much money to go around, and are they as good a team once they have to pay Lamar Jackson $50 million and then run the risk, which is true with any quarterback, that he's not going to be there.
So let me wrap with this, and we'll get to Rocky Boiman. The argument that we always make with Joe Flacco eliminates but you have to be able to draft at that point, which we make the story of that being Joe Flacco's contract and miss that the story was Matt Elam and the story was Arthur Brown and the story was
though that they needed in Ozzy's mind there was no way to fit the most important receiver Joe had on his team.
Which was not necessary at all. Like, it was a major mistake they gave plenty of money to Dennis Pitta that they could have given to Anquan Bolden, right? Like, they didn't have to do that. They made a litany of terrible mistakes in the immediate aftermath of giving Joe Flacco a bunch of money and never really had it come to roost, because instead they just went and dumped Joe Flacco and got, Lamar Jackson to replace him. Like, they never really dealt with a 3-year span of the worst drafting in Ravens history, and instead we just sort of blame Joe Flacco's contract for it. If they do this with Lamar Jackson, they can't replicate that. They can't turn around and miss on all of their draft picks for the next 3 years. They would have to hit on multiple draft picks in order to make this work. Yeah. That's the situation. In the meantime, there is a football game to be played on Sunday night. Out in Cincinnati, the Ravens are in the playoffs, taking on the Bengals for the second straight week, and that means for the second straight week, we get to catch up with our friend from WLW out in Cincinnati. He's our buddy Rocky Boiman, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Rocky, it's Glenn and Stan. Love making regular appearances with you, my friend. Thank you for doing this.
Absolutely, Glenn and Stan. And I got to tell you, it warms the hearts of Bengals fans to hear other fan bases, namely the Ravens, talk about quarterback problems and quarterback issues when Cincinnati's sitting here thinking they just, absolutely won the lottery every single day that Joe Burrow's here. Yeah.
So you're coming on the feet. So you're coming on next Friday with us too, right, Rocky?
For the trilogy.
As long as they keep going in the playoffs.
Trilogy. That's the way it's going to go. Rock, you guys prepared to give $700 million to Joe Burrow out there?
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. And I said this the other day on my show because I've been seeing lately a lot of national media jump on the Bengals bandwagon and say, hey, the Bengals are the team to beat for the Super Bowl. And I don't necessarily disagree with that. In fact, I agree with it. But I warn fans, if it don't happen this year, things change every year. And that contract of Joe Burrow that you mentioned, that's looming. That's going to happen next year or possibly the next year. And obviously, what does that mean? That means the more money you give him, the more, the less money there's left to re-sign a T. Higgins or Jamar Chase or a Samaje P. Ryan or a Hayden Hurst, right? So it's kind of the rule of the NFL is when you have a great team, you've got to go win that thing because you could look around tomorrow. It's a completely different scenario.
Rocky, let's talk about what happened last week. And obviously there's some feelings that appear to be there seems to be a bit of bad blood between these teams going into Sunday night. And I don't know how much that will matter because, again, Tyler Huntley is playing quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday night. I don't know how relevant it is, but what do you make of all of that, kind of the emotions of the game and the weird nature of playing a team one week and then turning around and having to play them again so quickly afterwards?
Yeah, I'll address the first thing you said first, and that is, look, the chippiness, and they don't respect us, and we don't, they don't respect us, that sort of thing. I just think that's just great AFC North football, right? I mean, that's what you want. You don't want these guys sitting there, they're all hanging out after the game, and they love each other, right? We want them to kind of hate each other. That's what makes a rivalry fun, as long as it's kept clean between the lines. And I think I talked about this a little bit last week with you guys. The Bengals have found a way and really lived on the whole, hey, no one believes in us narrative, right? And that's a powerful thing. I can tell you as a player, they don't respect us. No one thinks we're good. No one thinks we're Kansas City or Buffalo. And I think it's helped them, both the offense and the defense down the stretch. I'm not sure if some of this you're hearing from the Bengals players about, we're going to, settle scores and all this sort of stuff that they're saying. I'm not sure if some of that's a little bit manufactured in a way to psychologically put themselves in that mindset where they're going to go out there and play with their hair on fire. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's maybe a little bit of that going on because it's worked so well. And I think the coaching staff has done a good job of keeping this team believing, hey, no one believes you. Well, if you look around, a lot of people believe in the Bengals right now.
No
but
doubt.
I think the more they can keep and capture that narrative, and again, as long as it's kept clean. Now, I firmly believe that Harbaugh is telling those Ravens, hey, look, if you can, say a little something to this guy and maybe you draw a punch, you draw a personal foul, a 15-yard penalty, hell yeah, that's well within the rules. I've had coaches that have preached that before games, rivalry games like that, so that's perfectly fine. But again, it'll be kept clean, I would imagine. And again, that feeling of, hey, it's us. No one believes in this kind of thing has worked well for the Bengals.
Rocky, I wanted to ask you a question about last week's game, how you saw it. Here in Baltimore, we prefer to say, well, we had Anthony Brown quarterbacking, and that gave us virtually no chance to win the game.
And no Mark Andrews, and
no
J.K.
Mark
Dobbins.
Andrews, and all those players that were. But did the Bengals, and so they say, they hang their hat, Ravens fans right now are hanging their hat on, man, our defense played its ass off last week and really played at a very high level. But the flip side of that is the Bengals go into that game knowing how many people are out for the Ravens. Did the Bengals bring their A-game intensity last Sunday? I don't think they did.
It's a good question, and I think I agree. I think early on they did, but once they got up 17-0, and look, it's human nature. You can sit there and say, that they got to play 4 quarters and everything matters. But look, the human nature side of it is they're sitting there saying, we got this game. We're looking across the field. We're seeing the quarterback situation for the Ravens. We're seeing no Mark Andrews. We're seeing no J.K. Dobbins. So, yeah, they let their foot off the gas a little bit. I mean, looking mainly at Joe Burrow's play, I mean, he was magnificent in evading tackles and getting out of rushes. But from an accuracy standpoint, that was like one of the worst games he's had.
Yeah.
He was missing wide open guys. He about got Tyler Boyd, got his ribs taken out on the sideline. So, and I think there was a little bit of that there in him and probably a little bit of that in the defense in the second half. So I expect a completely different mindset coming out here this week.
He is Rocky Boiman, WLW out in Cincinnati, former NFL linebacker. He's with us here on GCR as we get ready for Ravens-Bengals. Rocky, we bring up no J.K. Dobbins. Gus Edwards barely played in that game. Now we know Gus is cleared, so he'll be back. J.K. Dobbins will be back. We know the Ravens are going to attempt to run the ball 1 billion times. That's what they're going to try to do and hope that they can hold on to it, win time of possession, limit how much Joe Burrow sees the field. We also know that on the other side of the field is a guy named DJ Reader who's been outstanding. What are the Bengals at all susceptible to the idea of the Ravens coming out and just saying, we're going to run, we know we're going to run, we think we might be able to do it anyway?
I think, look, obviously the Bengals know that the Ravens are a very proficient running team, and what Greg Roman designs, he has some great schemes and all that sort of thing. But I mean, obviously, if you're sitting in that meeting today down at Paul Brown Stadium, you're saying, look, we after the game, we want to sit there and say, hey, we took the run away, and you know what? Anthony Brown came out and had 400 yards passing. He was 70% and had 4 touchdowns. You can live with that, right? Like, that's the likelihood of that happening isn't going to be there. So obviously the priority, thing that's been preached is, hey, take away the run. So imagine schematically, some things will be done to cancel out that run. And man, it's just kind of the simple, one of the golden rules of football and defense. And that is, you make the offense, beat you left-handed, make them beat you doing something with their second or third option. So that's what I expect to see.
Yeah, I get that, and we will see how it plays out, because the Ravens don't really have a second or the third option to go to.
Which even more so makes the point. Absolutely.
Yep.
And also, Glenn, you mentioned DJ Reader. I mean, that guy's been phenomenal. I haven't looked lately, but I know on PFF he was one of the highest rated Bengals on the team, and sometimes he doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but
right.
I guarantee you Logan Wilson and Jermaine Pratt are just loving him and hopefully taking him out to dinner, because he is that's one of the better free agent signings the Bengals have ever had when they signed him. I think it was last year. He has just really set the tone on that defensive line and allowed those linebackers, and I can say this, the former linebackers, nothing better than when you got a guy up there that every single damn play requires a double team. That means somebody's not blocking you. And it's really showed and helped the Bengals defense.
Hey, Rocky, speaking of that, because we talked about it on your show the other day, I'd like to get your insight as a former linebacker. And, there's a lot of people that you bring up great acquisitions. What we've seen from Roquan Smith since he arrived in Baltimore is borderline insane. I mean, this is one of the great acquisitions of all time from the Baltimore Ravens. They've been not just a top 5 defense, the number 3 DVOA defense. So even, taking adjusted for opponent, This isn't just, hey, their schedule got easier, and so the defense was always going to get better. It's, no, the defense is drastically better the moment this dude arrived. And yet, there are still people that say, I don't care how good he is, you don't pay an off-ball linebacker $20 million a year. You can't build a franchise that way. It's just not important enough of a position. What do you make of that argument? Obviously, it's moot because the Ravens went ahead and did it. Like, that's where the money is going to go. What do you make of the argument that building through off-ball linebacker is a mistake at that number?
Yeah, I understand that just in and of itself. But I think and credit the Ravens for not, buying into that and looking into what really matters on their team. I think it's, Roquan Smith doesn't just make the Ravens defense better. He seems to make the entire team better. Right. So, I mean, how often do you get that? A guy that completely changes the tone of one side of the ball. And I think that kind of, goes out over the whole entire team of how they play. It's the mindset that Harbaugh wants. So, yeah, when you can sign a player and he has a huge impact on not just one side of the ball, but your entire team, I think that's worthy of consideration. And again, just the production he's had in a short amount of time. I was talking about this last night. Maybe you can address this, but how quickly the Ravens signed him to that big deal obviously says a lot about his leadership and his effect on the team and everything I mentioned. Is there anything to the fact that they've been reluctant to sign Lamar Jackson? Because maybe does he not do? You tell me. Does he not do some of those leadership and bring the whole team together and we're all behind you kind of? I don't know. It seems like the Ravens valued that with Roquan Smith. I'm just wondering if that's not the case on the other side. Everyone knows Lamar Jackson's a phenomenal player and a phenomenal dude. I just don't know if there's anything to that.
Yeah, my take on it is that that the Ravens are now a little bit sour on Lamar's leadership abilities. Mm-hmm. That's in terms of being the face of a franchise. I think they're a little down on that.
Let's be fair. They did try to sign him. It's not like they didn't want to sign him, or they absolutely attempted to sign Lamar Jackson and give him, some of the biggest guaranteed money.
Since he turned the contract down, in my opinion, he's done very little that is of a positive nature to being the leader of the football team.
It's an interesting thought. Yeah. I don't know if the one is correlates
and
with the
I'm
other.
talking about the social media thing.
Right.
Do you really
Right.
want your face of your franchise getting into an argument over somebody where he says, "Hey, go eat, eat penises," you know?
Right.
I mean,
I mean, Lamar.
Yeah,
I'll just be honest.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson, in my opinion, has shown a great deal of immaturity as a grown man in the way he's handled this situation.
Interesting. It's interesting. We'll talk more. We'll talk more about that. Rocky, give me the roadmap. If the Ravens have a chance on Sunday, it's because what?
Look, obviously it's cliche, but the Bengals have turnover problems. You know what I mean? Like, there's fumbles, there's, tip balls that go up in the air, and Roquan Smith comes down with them. It's Joe Burrow, having just an awful, terrible day. I mean, that's absolutely what it's going to take because, obviously if the Ravens got to keep the points down. They're not going to go out there and score, 30 points. I don't believe it's going to be in the, high teens or 20s. So they got to find a way to shut down this Bengals offense. And the way you do that in the NFL and in college is you get turnovers. And they haven't had a problem with turnovers. But those things come up at the wrong time, so I don't anticipate that, but that would be what would have to happen. It'd have to be, a turnover margin of, +3, that sort of situation, in my opinion, for the Ravens to win this.
Right now, the Bengals, who do you think they fear more? Not fear more. Who do you think they feel they have the best chance to beat after this football game?
It's funny because, it would take another game for them to play them. But, right now the Bengals have the Chiefs' number. They've beaten them, they beat them 3 times in the span of less than a year. And one time at the Chiefs in their own building in the AFC Championship game. So there's something where the Bengals have the number of Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. I think if you ask most Cincinnati fans, I think most fans were feeling pretty good about that Bills game on Monday night before it got stopped because of the Hamlin situation. So, should the Bengals win this one and go on, look, and I imagine the Bills are going to win, so that'll be an unbelievable atmosphere in Buffalo. I wouldn't doubt DeMar Hamlin walks out for the opening game coin toss, and the place goes absolutely bonkers. So whoever plays at Buffalo here is going to be facing a lot of those things, a lot of those emotions coming off of that, and that's going to be a tough game.
We hope that that's not how it plays out. But we got a funny feeling you're probably right. At Rocky Boiman 50 on Twitter is, of course, how you follow him. Brother, always appreciate you, man. Thanks for taking the time
Rocky.
for us.
Glenn, Stan, thanks so much, guys. We'll talk soon.
Sounds good, buddy. Rocky Boiman, former NFL linebacker out in Cincinnati.
Now a regular on the show every
Friday.
Correct.
Every Friday. That's just the way that it worked out, the way that things worked out. All right, today's show is also brought to you by, this one's brought to you by the Baltimore County Police Department. If you're thinking about maybe switching your path in life, the Baltimore County Police Department has great opportunities for you. Cadet salary start at over $30,000 a year.
Am I too old to be a cadet?
I don't think you would qualify as a cadet.
Right as an officer.
Yeah, you would go
They'd put me right in.
Into officership.
day one.
Position.
You show up.
Day
You're
one.
the-
So
you're
what
the
do I
guy.
make to be an officer? 30 for
An
a cadet.
entry-level officer starts at over $60,000 a year. A lateral officer starts at over $64,000 a year, and both entry-level and lateral officers are eligible for a $10,000 signing bonus to boot. Which isn't quite as much as you get. I think Roquan Smith got the other day, but not bad either. Like nothing to sneeze at.
Would I
that
be able
point.
to ask for special dispensation to be able to come in on Friday mornings?
I think we might be able to work something out. I think that we could talk to the folks at the Baltimore County Police Department and maybe work something
I've
out.
been thinking
in that
about a
capacity.
change of career.
You think that maybe this might be the
This
path
might
for
be
you?
the- it might be the
I'm
ticket.
You know how many powder donuts you could buy with a $10,000 signing bonus?
That's a good point.
ton.
He makes
You know
a
what?
good point.
They'd probably give them to me
Yeah,
if I
they
walked in
probably
my
would.
uniform.
It's probably the
yeah.
case. Of course, great benefits are also available, like medical, dental, and vision insurance. Of course, it is just, if you have thought about wanting to, we've used the term be the change a lot. If you want to make an impact on the relationship between the police and the community, really encourage you to consider joining up with the Baltimore County Police Department. Again, the phone number 410-887-5542. You can go to joinbaltimorecountypd.com. You must be a United States citizen, have a high school diploma or GED equivalent, and possess a valid driver's license. When we come back in, okay, we are not going to do that. That's interesting. When we come back in, it'll be more of Stan and I talking about things. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Experience the best in Kamado Grilling, a complete outdoor cooking appliance. The Ginsu Kamado Grill allows anyone to sear, grill, bake, and smoke all types of food. Designed for efficiency and function, the Ginsu Kamado Grill upholds the enduring legacy of the iconic Ginsu brand. The Ginsu Kamado Grill is perfect to cook all year round, is great for parties, and ideal for tailgating with your friends. Reserve your Ginsu Kamado Grill today at ginsugrills.com and get $100 off on your pre-order when you use the promo code TAILGATE. That's ginsugrills.com. Reserve yours today.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
Looking for some excitement in the new year? Laurel Park has plenty of live horse racing events to spice things up this January. The much-anticipated winter meet kicks off on January 1st, plus we've got special MLK holiday racing on Monday, January 16th, and the Winter Carnival Stakes on Saturday, January 21st. Winter may be cold, but the racing at Laurel Park is hot. Learn more about upcoming January events by visiting laurelpark.com.
Another Orioles season is in the books, and the Bat-Around was there every step of the way as the Birds posted their first winning season in 6 years. And after promoting 2 #1 overall prospects in Adley Rutschman and Gunnar Henderson, Mike Elias has said it's liftoff from here. Hi, I'm Paul Valley, and along with my co-host Zach Goodman, we'll be here every Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon all off season, discussing every signing, trade, and waiver claim as we navigate the cold winter months that lead to spring training. You can watch us at youtube.com/PressBoxOnline and Facebook.com/PressBoxSports, or listen live at PressBoxOnline.com/radio. And if you miss a show, you can find us anywhere you get your podcasts. So tune into the Bat-Around with Paul Valley and Zach Goodman every Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon right here at PressBox Sports.
It's the perfect time to sign the young basketball fan in your life up for a membership in the Retriever Kids Club. It includes free youth admission to all regular season UMBC home games, plus a t-shirt and a drawstring backpack. Membership is only $35. It makes a great gift. Visit UMBCRetrievers.com/Kids Club for more info. Membership is available for kids 12 and under in the Retriever Kids Club. Again, UMBCRetrievers.com/Kids Club.
If you can't listen or watch live, you can subscribe to the show via Spotify, Amazon, or Apple Podcasts. Leave a 5-star review while you're there. Or, if lying isn't your thing, we'll take a 3.5-star review too.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue on a Friday edition of the program. Stan the Fan Charles is here. Apologies, we'll have to push Bo Smolka. That's all right. We kind of know what Bo was going to say anyway. We were going to ask him about whether Lamar Jackson was going to play. He was going to say no, because we know Lamar Jackson is not going to play on Sunday. So at that point, the news yesterday, not only did Lamar make a statement, but also Tyler Huntley got back to throwing at practice, which confirmed that he would be available to play on Sunday.
You and I have not – we've been on the air for what time is it now? 44 minutes.
Yes.
We've not mentioned the death of Lisa Marie Presley.
We have not mentioned the death of Lisa Marie Presley. Terribly sad news.
Yeah.
Unfathomably sad.
Now, you're a music guy.
Yes.
I'm sort of a jazz guy.
Mm-hmm.
Was she any good?
She had a couple of songs that were really good.
Yeah, that's
right?
what I vaguely remember.
I never felt like her raw talent was overwhelming.
Right.
But I thought she had a few songs. You're like, man, this is a fun, catchy tune. And then what was weird is last night, I never found out she put out a third record years later.
Right.
So it was in the sort of the mid-2000s, the first decade, whatever you want to call them, the aughts, I think is what we normally refer to them. In the middle part of that decade, she put out a couple of albums. And then in the teens, she quietly put out another album as well that was apparently very different sounding. And I am told that music people would say
it's really good.
It's her best. Did not have a hit, did not have,
right.
Went completely unnoticed. I'm going to have to go back and listen to that now because I don't even remember it happening when it came out.
Right.
But I remember she had, legitimate hit singles in the aughts that were pretty good songs. They were in that era of like Kelly Clarkson and Pink, and they sounded very like fun, poppy, anthemic songs that she made that I enjoyed a little bit.
And her daughter, she's got the unusual name.
Yeah, you're right.
Not it's with a K. Oh God, why? Riley? No, it's Riley.
Riley Keough. Yes, thank you, Riley
Keough. Because the
Keough.
father is Keough.
Yep, correct.
Marty Keough, the former baseball
That's
player.
exactly who it is.
And
100%.
Matt Keough. She's the brother
exactly
of
right.
Matt Keough. No, all kidding aside.
She's an actress.
She's a terrific
yes.
actress. She's very
she did.
good.
What was there was Zola? Was that the name of the stripper movie from a few years ago? That was really good. It was a hilarious. It started. The story was about a tweet, right? Like this stripper sent out a string of tweets that lit the internet on fire, and they literally took the string of tweets and turned it into a movie, and it was outstanding. And she was the star of that film.
I'm looking up a name. Do you remember the star? He's a star actor. He was in that Tick 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 Boom. The movie about the gay playwright, musical playwright.
Is it Andrew Garfield?
It's Andrew Garfield. She made a movie with Andrew Garfield, and which was a really unusual film. And I'm looking at her. No, that's Riley Keough's list of movies and TV shows. She was really.
By the way, the movie I'm thinking of was called Zola. That I was right. It's called Zola. It was really good.
All right, wait a minute. I'm looking now. I can't understand why it wouldn't be in her. Here
I don't remember her being in Logan Lucky, by the way. Or in Mad Max Fury Road. I don't remember a lot of these things.
Under the Silver Lake.
Okay. I am
not.
not.
Is that the movie? Wait a minute.
It does have Andrew Garfield and Riley Keough, so that sounds right.
I think it's Under the Silver Lake. She was really terrific in that, and she's done something else where she really pops on the screen. But it's one thing if you judge somebody, not to speak ill of the dead, but if you said this woman was in Scientology, you'd probably go woo. And then if you said this woman married Michael Jackson, you'd go, woo. She's done she did two of those things.
That's true. And Nicolas Cage as well.
She was married to, that's
yes,
right.
She was also married to Nicolas Cage. With, I believe the story being
that's
at the time.
That's like the trifecta.
That people believe that Nicolas Cage is so insane that he's a completely obsessed Elvis fan.
Right.
And that he was
only married her
because of his obsession with Elvis. Like, it was the ultimate memorabilia. Because apparently Nicolas Cage is a collector of Elvis memorabilia. Now, again, I don't know, believe it or not close enough with Nick Cage in order to be able to comment on that.
Roughly. Do you remember when that was?
It was after the Michael Jackson thing,
right.
So it would have been
2005.
I was thinking later in the aughts, but let me see. 2002 to 2004.
Okay.
Were the years.
When was she married to Michael?
94 to 96. Remember, they famously came out together at one of the award shows, and he said, and to think they thought this would never last, and they were broken up a month later or something like that.
Well, it's very,
it's incredibly sad.
Yeah.
Incredibly sad.
She in her own way is kind of iconic figure. No question
and because she was so young when Elvis died, she was sort of carrying on the litany or the legacy of Elvis. It's unbelievably sad, and a family that has lost many people at such young ages.
Yeah.
She dies at 54.
Is her ex-husband, this Keough, he's a music guy, isn't he?
He was the other one I think was a producer. Okay. I think the most recent
Keough
ex-husband
was like a truck driver?
I don't know what exactly Danny Keough did. I'm not exactly familiar with his work. But no, the most recent one, Michael Lockwood, was a music producer.
Okay.
And a significant music producer that she was married to until just 2 years ago, I think. Yes, sad news. Yeah, get me to the bottom of the Danny Keough situation. We need to know more. Then we'll have completed the 4-pack of Lisa Marie Presley husbands this morning on GCR.
It's interesting. He's not coming up quickly on Google.
Didn't really do any.
No,
he might really have been a truck driver.
Musician.
He was a musician as well. Okay,
yeah.
He was also a musician.
I thought I had read that yesterday.
All right, very good. Stan, a couple of things I wanted to get to. The Orioles have announced a press conference for next week. Very vague announcement of a press conference for next week. And it has people a little bit, I don't know, kind of wondering what maybe it could be or couldn't be. I want to go back to some of the wording of the announcement of this press conference. This is, by the way, if you missed it yesterday, they did, of course, make it official that the concert that's coming to Camden Yards is M&T Bank Stadium is John Angelo. I'm all over the place. I'm all over the place.
I
Billy Joel.
flustered you with talking about Riley Keough.
Would you pay to see John Angelo sing?
I don't know. I've never seen it before. Billy Joel and Stevie Nicks.
They're coming to M&T Bank
is
Stadium
coming,
October the 7th, I think it is.
Yes. This is the tweet from Nathan Ruiz. The Orioles say they will have a news conference Monday featuring John Angelos, Mayor Brandon Scott, and leaders of the College Bound Foundation regarding what they say will be a, quote, a conversation about the long-term reinvestment in Baltimore, igniting the next Baltimore Renaissance, unquote. Now, this could be nothing, right? And I say nothing, it could be just a very, an announcement of a scholarship or something like that. But why would you be holding a press conference for that, right? Versus just putting out a press release about something like that. The wording of a conversation about the long-term reinvestment in Baltimore, igniting the next Baltimore Renaissance.
That's pretty
bold,
very audacious,
bold statement to make about a press conference. If all you're announcing is the start of a scholarship fund or something like that.
Well, it sounds like the only thing that throws me off the scent of the signing of the lease.
That's what everybody's going to.
Is, and maybe they feel that this is so much more important that it trumps that, and that's just an obligatory signing, signing the agreement, whereas he's saying above and beyond signing the agreement, the Orioles feel that they can play a part in really bringing Baltimore back. That's economic development down by the stadiums. Clearly something
which
needs
they've
to be,
always made clear they intended to be a part of. They have
but I think maybe John is now saying we got to be an important proactive mover on this, and Lord knows the mayor could use some help right now.
So, but do you think they would announce something, whatever it is, without there being an announcement of a lease extension, especially in the aftermath of the Ravens lease being announced last week?
Last week. It's hard to imagine, but the Ravens didn't have a big signing.
They did not. To be fair, they did not. You're right.
So maybe it will include that. Maybe it will include that.
What is the date of the inauguration for Westmore?
Isn't it January?
Is it Wednesday?
20.
No, 18th. It's the 18th, so next Wednesday.
So maybe they want to give Westmore a big win.
So there has been privately,
right?
I say privately. I feel like it's ruminated that a lot of people talked about it. The thought that the Orioles, knowing the politics of John Angelos, would have preferred to wait and have the announcement be made with Westmore as governor.
It's very possible.
And him be a part of it, and to try to make Westmore look good. Whereas the Ravens and some of their leadership and knowing their politics, they didn't care about that and didn't mind Larry Hogan taking a victory lap on something like that, right? I can't confirm any of that. I can only say that's been out there, that people have discussed the idea that knowing what we know about some of the leadership of both organizations, that this could time out perfectly. The Ravens can give a big thumbs up to Larry Hogan, and then the Orioles could come in and try to give a thumbs up to Westmore afterwards.
Right.
I can't confirm. I can't, I get why people would say that.
It certainly seems the audaciousness, you and I both said bold, audacious, to say that, the Orioles are having this press conference to have a discussion about the Renaissance.
And the quote, a conversation about the long-term reinvestment in Baltimore, igniting the next Baltimore Renaissance, unquote. That is a hell of a sentence, man. That is...
It's impactful.
It's very impactful, but again, if they announce, hey, this is our plans for developing the area around Camden Yards, this is what we intend to do, but it doesn't come with the announcement of, oh, and by the way, we also signed our lease, is it empty in some way?
It is a tiny bit empty, but to me, the lease is sort of part and parcel of it.
You're saying it's more formulaic.
I'm saying that they would not be making a statement like that and go public withholding a press conference
if they
discussing
weren't
if
signing
they
a
weren't gonna
lease.
sign
Right,
a lease,
correct. Like, by the way, we're going to do all this, but we are not committed. Right? We're here for a renaissance of Baltimore, but we are not committed to actually being a part of it moving
Maybe the
forward.
Orioles are going to sign Lamar Jackson.
You think that's the way this is going to? Now that would be bold.
That would
now
be
that
audacious,
would go a long way to fitting this. I don't know. Obviously, I have no inside information about this. I have always assumed that at some point in the near future they got the money. There's nothing left now. The only part that's left is actually announcing that the lease has been signed.
Yep.
Right? Like
Yep.
the Major League Baseball doesn't say, yeah, go ahead and walk away from $600 million that you were given by the state. They got the win. They got the thing that they needed.
Right.
Now you just go ahead and sign the lease. So I'm not afraid. Any fear that anyone had, that to me was gone the moment that the money was agreed upon, right? Like the moment that the state said thumbs up to it, that all went out the window for me, that there was anyone that could even say I'm reasonably concerned about the future of the Orioles. But yes, to your point, this formula, the state's formula, they have to do. They still have to say we have entered into a new lease agreement at some point.
I would
that part still has
expect
to come.
I would expect that they would announce that, but it's almost like the hidden ball trick a little bit. That's assumed by what they're going to talk and have a conversation about. Which day is that press conference?
Let me go back. Sorry.
I saw that they had
Monday, so it would be before Wes Moore takes office.
This coming Monday. Okay.
So he would not be governor at that point.
Right.
So it would, if they did announce the lease, that wouldn't fit the bill of trying to give Wes Moore the win. Although
Monday.
Well, you're looking at your schedule.
Yeah, I've got to,
Right. Now you're looking at your schedule. I said afterwards, maybe they're announcing Beyonce since the Ravens didn't. Maybe that's what all of this is. The long-term plan for the Renaissance in Baltimore is we're bringing Beyonce.
Maybe they were planning to have Lisa Marie Presley.
Oh, I don't think that she was going to sell out the stadium. But again, R.I.P. Lisa Marie Presley. I can't say that possibly enough. While we're on the topic of baseball, and again, Dave Ginsburg will unveil his Hall of Fame ballot in a bit. I guess let's do two things here.
Yeah.
Let's quickly, because Carson brought it up to us before during the last commercial break. The announcement this week: AAA baseball throughout AAA, everywhere, robot umps are coming. What do you make of it?
My prediction is by 2025 or 26. Fans will be complaining that baseball games are moving too fast. I've been such a proponent of this robo umpire thing. I get all the human factor that having a human umpire calling balls and strikes, but to me, to have a human element that's often so wrong, I've grown tired of it, and I think the umpires' increasingly small strike zone over the years has done terrible things to the pace of play, and I expect that baseball will move once this thing is in. I think games will move incredibly fast.
Carson, you wanted to say something?
I was going to say that I agree, and I think that for balls and strikes, a robot umpire is something that can really have a positive impact on the game, but I do think there's something to be said for part of the beauty of baseball is in the nothingness between pitches when the pitcher's messing around with his hat and the right fielder's picking daisies and you're sitting in the stands looking at nothing.
And having your conversation.
Right, and that's part of the beauty of the game. And I think that there's a balance that needs to be found because I think the games could be sped up. There's no doubt about that. I would love to go to the ballpark and get there at 6:50 and be out of there by 11. I would love
some of the things they have done have been very effective.
The pitch clock was extremely effective.
We have to acknowledge that the moves they made did prove to be effective.
Absolutely.
In making the games a little bit quicker. And to your point, Stan, I don't know that necessarily want all the games to be 2 hours. I think people will start to complain. I was not kidding. Right.
I think by 2025 or 26, when they go, geez, I go to a game at 7 and I'm out at 9. You
got to find that sweet spot,
especially if you're showing up late to the game. You can't get there till 7:30. All of a sudden, you show up.
Game's 6:30.
Right, then you're in the 4th inning, and you're like, "What the? I missed 3 innings of the game. What the hell's going on here?"
You got to find that balance, that middle ground of not too long, but it's not instantly.
Yes, Griffin?
I wouldn't find that as a problem at all. If games are close to 2 hours like that, I think college basketball obviously the end of basketball games are quite long, but games are 2 hours long. Same with soccer. I enjoy a nice, quick game. And
I understand the argument. I think it's different for people that go. I do think there's a difference between what's best for the television product and what's best for the live audience. I don't know. While you're right, people go to college basketball games. There's no doubt about it. I still think that there is hey, I've made an investment for the night. I kind of don't want to. And baseball has always been the sport where it's not the end of the world if you show up a couple of minutes late. That's one of the things about college basketball is you don't want to show up. Imagine if you showed up late to that Maryland-UCLA game a couple weeks ago, right? Imagine if you showed up.
Sit down and get up.
20 minutes late to that game. You never saw competition. You never saw an ounce of competition.
Yeah.
Baseball's always been the sport where, hey, if we miss the bottom of the first or the top of the first inning, it's not the end of the world. We're going to be fine. There's some danger there with baseball that if you get it to be the games that are too short, that you do take away from a little bit of what has made baseball good. Hour number 1 of today's show is also brought to you by the Ginsu Kamado Grill. This is it. These are your final days to take advantage of $100 off at ginsugrills.com when you use the code TAILGATE and order your Ginsu Kamado Grill.
I remember 1972 going to a game, and you can look it up on, wherever you look up the history of games, I saw a game at Veterans Stadium. Steve Carlton was pitching for the Phillies. This was the year he went 27-6, I think, was his record, and he won the Cy Young Award. And he's pitching against former Oriole Milt Pappas, who was pitching for the Cubs, an hour and 40 minutes.
Look, we have seen still, even in modern days, there have been, Tom Glavine, Greg Matt. There have been, when you have two outstanding pitchers on the mound, you can have games that go quickly. But they're an anomaly, right? We don't see them frequently. They're every now and then you sit down and you're like, oh, it's 9:15. I'll put the Orioles game on, and you look and why the hell is Rob Long on my TV? What the hell is going on here? I say that every time Rob Long's on my TV, for the record. What the hell is this guy doing here? Love you, buddy. But no, I get that. I get those games exist. The other, I think, dirty little secret or the dirty conversation about this is, does Major League Baseball really want the full size of the strike zone? I think Major League Baseball would probably privately say, we would prefer there to be more offense. That's better for the brand. It's better for, interest in viewing. People want to see home runs. They want to see runs being scored. Most people don't want to see, incredible pitching duels. They want to see legitimate offense. So is it better? Does Major League Baseball really want a uniform strike zone that would probably be a bit bigger for most umpires? Not for all. There have been some umpires that have particularly large strike zones, but would probably be a little bit bigger than what your typical strike zone is for the average umpire. Do they really want that?
I don't know. I just know that, to me, that is the single thing that, to me, slows down baseball games. Isn't how often you're making a bullpen change. It's the pitch-by-pitch, little grumbling by the hitter.
Right,
he steps out.
Let me ask it a different way. Do you think that going to robot strike zones
Yeah.
would lead to less offense, or do you think it wouldn't be noticeable?
I think it'll be, actually, the hitters will need to be a little bit more aggressive.
Okay.
And I think it will lead to more, combined with the things that they're doing now, getting rid of the shifts.
Right.
I think we're going to have
Yeah, that'll go a long way to helping that out.
And that should mitigate somewhat the speed of the game, because there'll be more base runners on. But I'm just telling you, batters are going to be up and out,
It's interesting.
I think it's such a, to me, and I get the romance of baseball, but we're in 2023 now. We're not in 1955. That this notion that you're taking the human element out of the game and all that, human elements out of the game, or in a lot.
I never understood why we romanticize the human element to begin. Like, who was tuning in for that?
To me,
I need more Angel Hernandez.
Right.
To me, right, exactly.
We need
That's
Joe
a
West
good one.
taking the perfect game away.
Right.
What was that?
But to me, the predictability of the strike zone for hitters and pitchers is a tremendous positive, especially for pitchers. I can't tell you the times that I would watch a Kevin Gausman game where Kevin struck somebody out,
Right.
and the umpire called it a ball, and I go, and then he throws like 9 foul balls, and suddenly
His pitch counts
counts
up,
up. And why would you want your pitchers to throw more pitches to an unpredictable strike zone? That to me, at the value pitching arms have, why do you want them to waste their bullets, so to speak?
It's a good argument. It's a good argument. All right, when we come back in, I want to talk about our Hall of Fame ballots.
Okay.
We know what we're going to talk to Dave Ginsburg about his later on in the hour. But who would you vote for? Because it's the last time you and
You're
I.
gonna ask me?
Yes.
Wow, geez.
Yeah. Right. I'm gonna share mine. One of yous. Let the kids chime in as well.
I'll send you guys mine.
Yeah, it's very important. We need to know that. Very important. Because this is going to be the last time you and I do a show together before the announcement, because I'm out of here next week. So we'll talk about who we would vote for if we had a ballot. We, of course, do not. But if we did, who would we be voting for the Baseball Hall of Fame? We're going to do that next. Stan the Fan Charles is in studio, and then Dave Ginsburg will unveil his Hall of Fame ballot at 11:35. It's Glenn Clark Radio. It's the perfect time to sign the young basketball fan in your life up for a membership in the Retriever Kids Club. It includes free youth admission to all regular season UMBC home games, plus a t-shirt and a drawstring backpack. Membership is only $35. It makes a great gift. Visit UMBCRetrievers.com/Kids Club for more info. Membership is available for kids 12 and under in the Retriever Kids Club. Again, UMBCRetrievers.com/Kids Club.
The latest edition of PressBox is available now, and it's our annual Best Of issue. On the cover, we recognize Orioles catcher Adley Rutschman as our 2022 Mo Gabba Sports Person of the Year, and he sits down with us to discuss how his arrival in Baltimore was simultaneous with the Birds' turnaround. Also inside, we recognize the top people, performances, and moments of the year throughout the local sports scene. PressBox is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores, and you can always find the entire edition as well as the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
Looking for some excitement in the new year? Laurel Park has plenty of live horse racing events to spice things up this January. The much-anticipated Winter Meet kicks off on January 1st, plus we've got special MLK Holiday Racing on Monday, January 16th, and the Winter Carnival Stakes on Saturday, January 21st. Winter may be cold, but the racing at Laurel Park is hot. Learn more about upcoming January events by visiting laurelpark.com.
That first sip. That first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
Stan the Fan here, welcoming back one of my favorite sponsors, the Costas Inn. And everybody around Baltimore knows the Costas Inn is a great place to go and grab crabs, steaks, salads, soups, whatever's on your mind to eat in person. But did you know that the Costas Inn has upped their game? They are now one of the premier takeout places in Baltimore. Give them a call now to order your food, 410-477-1975. That's the Costas Inn over 4100 North Point Boulevard.
Sports betting has come to Maryland, and we're ready to help you win some money. Tune in for Simply the Bets every Tuesday morning at 11:40. FanDuel Sportsbook GM Leon Twyman and VSiN's Aaron Oster join the guys every week to give you all of the info you need and offer you a few winners. And every other Thursday at 11:40, tune in for Weekend at Bookies as Andrew Stecca and Alloy Sports' Brad Kronthal help make you some money for the weekend. So come win some money with us on Simply the Bets every Tuesday and Weekend at Bookies every other Thursday. Brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Listen at PressBoxOnline.com/radio. Watch at YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline.
Tune in to Simply the Bets every Tuesday and Weekend at Bookies every other Thursday at 11:40 a.m. And if you really have nothing better to do, keep listening to this show too.
All right, back in here on GCR. Stan the Fan Charles is in studio with us. The Toyota Tacoma comes in a range of models and trim lines, so you can choose the perfect Tacoma to reflect your unique personality and driving habits. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Tacomas from your local Toyota dealer today. Stan, you had another show last night, correct, with Ahmed Gafir?
Yeah, we had Ahmed Gafir from
Inside the Black and Gold.
InsideTheBlackandGold.net, which is a subscriber-based website that focuses on Maryland football and men's basketball and some non-revenue sports, the recruiting for players and information. It's a vital tool if you really are becoming a Terps fan, and it's $8 per month or $80 for the whole year.
You can find that conversation right now at facebook.com/PressBoxSports by clicking on the videos tab, or go to youtube.com/PressBoxOnline, PressBoxOnline.com/video, the places where you can find it. All right, so Dave Ginsburg will unveil. He actually has a vote, so his actually matters. We're just slappies. We don't matter, but we're going to share our opinions as well. All four of us can share who we would vote for. Remember, you can vote for up to 10 on the Baseball Hall of Fame ballot. Who would get our votes this year? I'm going to start from the bottom because I think we can knock out people. None of us, by the way, right now, all of these people have received 0 votes publicly so far. Does anyone want to make an argument for Jason Worth, Jared Weaver, Andre Ethier, Bronson Arroyo, Houston Street, Johnny Peralta, Mike Napoli, John Lackey, Jacoby Ellsbury, R.A. Dickey, Matt Cain, or even the great J.J. Hardy?
Love to have Hardy get one vote.
One vote is what you're looking for. I don't know if
But it wouldn't be mine.
We'll see if
and I love them. I love them.
Who doesn't love J.J. Hardy? 100%. We'll see if maybe
great wearer of what sneaker am I wearing?
New Balance.
New Balance. Always wore New Balance. Every conversation we had were about New Balance.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so very random. That's so very random.
Well, because I was always wearing them, and he
was always wearing them.
The Red Sox were always a New Balance team, too. They still are.
How about that? I did not know that.
That was like, because, everybody wears New Balance baseball cleats. Now, the Red Sox were the first team that, everybody had them on.
I have bad news for you, Stan, if you were hoping that the one vote was going. Dave Ginsburg did inform me. He did not vote for J.J. Hardy.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. No vote coming.
I said the
for
one
JJ.
vote wouldn't be coming from me for a Hall of Fame, but Hall of Fame fielder, no question about it.
He was a hell of a defensive player. Speaking of Hall of Fame fielders, we'll get to that in a second. Yes,
Mike Napoli was pretty incredible during that 2011.
Okay,
Texas
all right,
Rangers.
we're moving on. Stop. You're not voting for Mike Napoli. By the way, I love Torrey Hunter. He's the type of guy that, I really wish I could find a stat that could defend me saying he's a Hall of Famer, because my God, did I love watching Torrey Hunter play baseball. He was one of my absolute favorite players to watch play the game, but I couldn't vote for him for the Hall of Fame, so I'll take that off. Then he has 2% of the vote, by the way, so not 0. He's got that going for him.
I mean, Jimmy Rollins only has 11.8.
Well, let's.
Okay.
I wanted to work up from the bottom if we could to see when somebody starts making an argument for. I would vote for that guy.
Was R.A. Dickey in that?
R.A. Dickey was in that.
He's in the 0.
I guess that's fair.
I'd still love the Orioles to sign him right now. Come back and pitch. But he's not a Hall of Famer.
So now let's get into it. Omar Vizquel is the next name. Does anyone want to make an Omar Vizquel argument?
And when you say he's at 8.5%.
Yes. He's next on the list.
See, to me, I'm not on the camp that is an Omar Vizquel.
A guy I loved watching play baseball. Absolutely loved watching Omar Vizquel play. But no, I can't make a compelling. It's the guy I want to. I want to make a compelling Hall of Fame argument for Omar Vizquel, and it's incorrect to suggest that he was a 0 as a hitter. Like, Omar Vizquel could hit, but not nearly enough to weigh it out and make him a Hall of Fame caliber player. Like, you can't compare Omar Vizquel.
120 hits shy of 3,000.
Which is crazy, but it has a lot more to do with longevity than it does have to do with him. But I do bring that up. There will be people that will say he was only defense. Omar Vizquel was not only defense. He's not Mark Belanger. You know what I mean? Like, he could hit a little bit. He was a capable offensive player, but not enough. He's not. I can't make an Ozzie Smith argument for Omar Vizquel.
It's just hard for me to put somebody. I know you could fall into the same trap with relief pitchers and saying, I'm just not going to vote in somebody that pitches 60 or 80 innings. Guy had 80 home runs in his career.
I hear you.
Yeah.
The next name,
but a 272 lifetime hitter, and close to the 3,000.
You cannot say he was only defense. You can't do. You're incorrect.
Real good ball player.
Yes, correct. The next name, 9.2% of the ballots right now for Francisco Rodriguez, reliever that shows up, and a former Oriole on this list.
Terrific relief pitcher. Doesn't rise, in my opinion, to Hall of Fame caliber.
Okay, I agree. Mark Burley is the next name on the list. He sits at 10.5% of votes right now. And Mark Burley, for a stretch, was among the best starting pitchers in baseball.
And one of the fastest working pitchers.
That also is true. But I don't have a Hall of Fame argument for Mark Burley.
I don't either.
Next on the list, Jimmy Rollins. And this is where you find the first name that I really struggle with as far as we work our way up the ballot. Because we keep coming back to this. I think Jimmy Rollins was a hell of a baseball player. Yeah. And I hate falling into the trap of only voting based upon WAR. Because, I have a guy that wanted to make Torrey Hunter arguments. I've wanted to make Omar Vizquel arguments. I've wanted to make arguments for a lot of these guys. But Jimmy Rollins, for everything he did, for all of the things he brought to a baseball field, finished with a career 47.6 WAR.
Yeah.
I don't think I could vote for him.
I just want to look at something here. No 100 RBI seasons. Totality for me, 264 hitter, on base 324. I could not vote for Jimmy. I liked him a lot. I like him on the post-game shows on TBS.
I agree with that.
Good. But as far as a baseball Hall of Famer, he's not there for me.
Okay, so we're all in agreement there. Next, Andy Pettitte is the next name on the list.
I'm taking a split second because I'm trying to look up everybody. They're Andy P-E.
Yeah, T-T-I-T-T-E. 60.2 career WAR.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm using, by the way, Baseball Reference.
Right, that's
WAR
what
numbers.
That's what I'm going to.
If you look up just 2023 Baseball Hall of Fame ballot, Baseball Reference has one just with all their stats.
And that makes all the sense in the world.
Thing. If you're trying to find them all.
Thank you, Carson.
Sure. And you can click the stat and it'll sort them by who has the most.
I loved Andy Pettitte. I thought he was such a great pitcher. I think I could vote for Andy Pettitte for Hall of Fame.
You're giving a ballot. Griffin, make sure you're tracking this so we can share.
I have a vote for Andy Pettitte.
I want you to save this for next week so that we have some content next week, if you don't mind. But you're giving a vote for Andy Pettitte.
I'm giving a vote for Andy Pettitte.
And Griffin, you're giving a vote to Andy Pettitte as well.
Remember,
uniquely about what he did in the postseason?
Not uniquely, but it sort of puts the fact that he didn't win 300 games is balanced a little bit. The fact he won how many games did he win in the postseason? Where's his postseason?
Yeah, we can pull this up.
He's 19 wins in the postseason.
19. To me, that counts. And what's his ERA in the postseason?
3.8.
3.8.
Yes, 3.8.
Okay.
It's not as overwhelming,
as
but again, you're facing the best teams, the best. It's difficult. You don't get to face the Orioles in the postseason.
He was a.
Although I guess technically he did. Now that I think about it, because the
threw 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at least 7 seasons of 200 innings plus. I'm very comfortable voting for him as a Hall of Famer.
All right, Andy Pettitte gets votes from 2 of us. Next on the list, Bobby Abreu.
Did you vote for Pettitte?
I did not vote for Andy Pettitte. Bobby Abreu has been a hot-button name this ballot cycle. All of a sudden, some folks really coming out of the woodwork as Bobby Abreu supporters. He currently has 20.3% of ballots. What say you about Bobby Abreu?
Bobby Abreu, you're saying he's hot this cycle. I remember him first becoming hot a couple years ago when I was doing the Masson pregame show because we discussed him. His numbers are a lot closer than you would think. I apologize.
Bobby Abreu, I can pull up his numbers.
Well, I got him now. But this
Career 291 hitter, which is quite impressive over an 18-year season. Career 395 on base percentage, which is also pretty freaking impressive over an 18-year career.
Yeah, as a guy that wore number 53 as well.
Ah, right. That is relevant. You do have to think about how much you factor that into the decision about whether or not you're going to vote for Bobby Abreu.
Wait a minute. I have him. Hold on a second.
Yes. What can I do for you?
I have Bobby Abreu.
Uh-huh.
And I'm seeing, his 18-year career. You're
Yes.
right. I was looking at the last season with the Mets.
Mm-hmm.
He had 2,470 hits.
Yeah,
2,470
yeah.
hits. The stolen bases to me were a huge factor why I like Bobby Abreu.
400 career stolen bases.
He's a Hall of Famer to me.
All right,
Bobby
so
Abreu.
a vote for Bobby Abreu from
So
Stan the
far
Fan
I've
Charles.
written-
You've gotten 2 so far. You're voting for Pettit and you voted for Abreu. Right. Anybody else voting for Bobby Abreu?
Not on my ballot.
All right, so he does get 1 from Stan. So it's about what he's trending at, as a quarter of votes have been going to Bobby Abreu.
Right.
So that's about right. Next on the list, Manny Ramirez, who currently sits at 41.2% of ballots. Stan the Fan Charles.
I'm still in the non-forgiveness mode,
right.
despite the fact he was a Hall of Fame caliber player. Can't pull myself into voting for all those guys.
He's got
right.
unbelievable numbers, man. I can't. My Hall of Fame has no juicers.
I forgive. He wouldn't be like A-Rod. I didn't vote for last year, but I'll vote for A-Rod this year. Manny is on my ballot.
I've always said I would vote for all of these guys. Look, I don't think this is as clear cut to me as Barry Bonds to me is a clear cut Hall of Famer no matter what. Manny Ramirez
Suspended twice though.
What's that?
Manny Ramirez for PEDs got suspended.
I understand
2
that.
times.
I understand all of it. I'm saying
David Ortiz is in.
Yeah, David Ortiz is a Hall of Famer, and we know that he tested positive. That's where we are. But I've always said all along, it's just too much for me. The whole thing, I can't do it. Manny Ramirez, reluctantly, he is on my ballot as well.
Did have 165 RBIs in 2 seasons. He had 145, 165. He had RBIs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
9. How many times did he drive in 100 runs?
Oh, my
2,
God.
3, 4,
How many
5,
career
6,
homers do you have?
7, 8,
540?
9, 10.
About 55 career home runs.
12 times over 100.
Now,
RBIs.
look, it does. Despite all of that, he was such a nothing as a defender that he still only has a career WAR of 69.3. He was a 0 as a defensive player. But that career WAR of 69.3 is slightly better than Tony Gwynn's career WAR. It's in the same conversation as, Eddie Murray finished with a 68.7 career WAR. So despite being a 0 as a defender, his offensive numbers are just so overwhelming.
You know what's amazing? 19 years in the big leagues, and somehow, as great a hitter as he was, 312 batting average, 411 on base, 996 OPS, 2,574 hits.
That is kind of.
I mean, it
right.
shows how hard because we'd all agree.
No doubt. Oh yeah, you get 3,000, you're in, right? That's
no, but we'd all agree that he's one of the greatest
tremendous,
hitters, and then you look it up.
But he also came along in the strikeout home run. As his career moved on, he got out of being a great hitter and became more of just a great home run hitter.
I'll tell you one of the greatest stats of all time, though, seriously, is the New York Yankees. Name me who in the Yankees has 3,000 hits.
Jeter.
Gehrig.
No.
DiMaggio.
No.
A-Rod counts?
Derek Jeter's the only Yankee that has 3,000 hits. Now you might find somebody
guys who play
that
Wade Boggs
played,
played with the
couple
Yankees, but
right.
yes, correct.
A true
career
Yankee.
Yankees.
Babe Ruth didn't have
Don
3,000
Mattingly never
hits.
got to
Don
3,000
Mattingly
hits.
No
didn't.
Mantle either.
No Mantle. Mantle missed so many games.
Right.
Derek Jeter's the only one.
It's really wild to think about, but yeah, that's what I think I had heard that at some point
it's
before,
one of
and
those
kind of blew
things-
my mind. Right.
yeah.
That's nuts.
It is nuts. Look, I don't love Manny Ramirez, and I do think that there's a compelling argument if you're trying to parse between steroid users and say how prodigious would his offensive numbers have been without steroids, and if you combine that with him being a 0 as a defender, is that Hall of Fame worthy? I'd absolutely, if somebody could present me that argument, I would listen to that. But until they do, I kind of don't have a choice. I kind of have to put Ramirez on my ballot.
I'm kind of surprised that his WAR is only 60 something, 69.
He might have been a negative defensive play. He was horrible defensively.
Right.
He high-fived that fan and can't be
Right, he did that.
What
Alex,
are we talking about?
Alex Rodriguez is the next name on the list. Alex Rodriguez is currently on 43.1% of ballots.
I'm going to give the same
I get it.
answer on Alex.
And Carson clearly is doing the exact same. And
Yeah, he's on mine.
he's on mine
He
as
gains
well.
my vote this year, for what it's worth.
That's weird. Why
What
did
did he
ga-
do to
wait,
gain
right?
it?
Why did
Well,
he
because
break
he
up
was a
break
steroid
up with
user.
Jennifer Lopez?
So my rule with the steroid users is they don't get on the first ballot. After that, I'll let them through.
Listen to you. Gatekeeping over here.
my right as a voter.
Yeah, Griffin's ballot is so
He's got
scary
he's
important.
He's got
Right.
passion. Though.
Right,
I'll
right.
give him
I do
that.
appreciate that. He is on mine. I don't feel good about it, but there's no debating Alex Rodriguez, the baseball player, if you move past the steroid thing. Next name is Jeff Kent, who sits at 49.7% of ballots.
Jeff Kent is a Hall of Famer, in my opinion.
Okay.
Now, I know he was playing with Bonds, but 1997 through 2002, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 straight years, 100 RBIs. Then did it one or two more times. 2 more times. So 8 times a 100 RBI guy. Played second base. Arguably the best offensive second baseman for a career because his numbers probably dwarf Ryan Sandberg's numbers. You know, his
offensive number. You're right,
He's a
correct.
290 hitter. 356, 855 OPS. His WAR is only 54 plus. But Jeff Kent's on my ballot.
Carson?
No.
Okay.
For me.
He's on my ballot as well. Everything Stan said. He won an MVP, and he should have won Survivor the year that he was on Survivor.
He's got that
so.
going for him. If you want to make a good argument for Jeff Kent, he actually has a better career WAR than David Ortiz. But he doesn't obviously have the playoff success that David Ortiz had, which was what kind of got him over the top as far as voting was concerned.
You know, the rumors about him are that he was such a jackass to reporters that everybody sort of, when they went in to vote, they sort of just said, I'm not voting for that guy.
There is
Didn't
a lot of
give me
that.
the time of day.
I think he's still borderline to me, and I'm leaving him off my ballot for now. I'll give you an example.
You're entitled to be wrong.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Would you defend my right to the death to be wrong? His career WAR lesser than, say, Chet Lemon's. There's not anything to me that says he has to be a Hall of Famer. I am certainly not offended by the idea of Jeff Kent as a Hall of Famer.
Right, I understand what you're saying.
And anything like that. But I just don't know that he has to be a Hall of Famer. Next, Carlos Beltran sits at 57.5%. Would almost certainly be at a much higher number if not for what happened after his playing career. Carlos Beltran, yes or no? Stan the Fan Charles.
I'm a Beltran guy, and don't think that the one incident that he lost his managerial job with the Mets because of his part in the cheating scandal of the Astros. I don't think that the totality of his career cheating was like, boy, he got all those stats by cheating.
We agree.
He's a Hall of Famer for me.
We agree.
You agree?
I agree as well, yes.
You agree?
No.
Man, Carson is a hard ass.
I don't get my Hall of Fame is so because this is how
He's Dan Shaughnessy putting in a
This is
one-name ballot.
I don't like a lot of the guys on this ballot. And my reasoning behind it is when I'm talking about the greatest baseball players of all time, am I putting Carlos Beltran up there with Ernie Banks, Al Kaline, Koufax? No.
Okay.
And no one is.
All
so
right.
why would he be in the Hall of Fame?
All right. This is hard-ass Carson over here, making it tough to get. I don't know who he's
This
voting.
is a very, if you couldn't tell, this is a very, I care about this.
Wow.
subject.
The one thing I'll say is look at the difference of the game today.
That's a great point.
Ernie Banks didn't have to face 3 and 4 relief pitchers that were all, and it's going to get tougher. I mean,
he's taking eighth inning at bats off a starter that's already thrown 110.
Yeah.
Next on the list, Gary Sheffield currently sits at 65.4% of ballots.
I got to pull him up.
Gary Sheffield finished his career with 509 home runs, 1,676 RBI, a career .292 hitter, a career .393 on base percentage. However, Gary Sheffield, just a 60.5 WAR for what it's worth. again, not much of as a defensive player. Started as a third baseman, was moved into the outfield because he couldn't really be a third baseman and didn't really do anything there. There's nothing going for Gary Sheffield, the defender.
Let me just see.
We do have to speak.
I think he's on my ballot.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a yes vote.
Yeah, yes.
I keep him off of mine. I mean,
it's very weird. Why?
Defense. I think that's part of baseball.
Okay.
He's similar to Beltran, but Beltran played defense. Beltran was a baseball player.
But didn't you have Manny Ramirez on your ballot?
Well, yeah, but he was unbelievable offensively.
It's really weird that that's the argument that you're making for Gary Sheffield, but not for Manny Ramirez.
You know, Sheffield, to me, his biggest crime was perhaps not taking baseball seriously enough when he really had his talent.
Yeah, he was a truly special, right?
He was a special, gifted player, but didn't really take it seriously until much later in his career.
He is on my ballot,
Yeah.
Carson.
He makes mine too. You hit 500 home runs, you're on my ballot.
Yeah.
There's a few things. You hit 500 home runs, you're on my ballot.
But Alex Rodriguez and
Juice. No juice.
But a lot of people believe that Gary Sheffield was a steroid
But was
user.
it ever confirmed? Was there ever confirmed?
You know, George Santos said
Some people see my biceps and say I'm juicing. But
He was
not.
juice-ish, I believe, is what
Jew-ish.
Juice-ish is what he said.
some watered down juice.
Next, Andrew Jones currently sits at 69.9% of ballots. Stan Charles.
Not on my ballot.
Okay.
Not on my watch.
Not on your watch.
He was an incredible defender. I think his offensive numbers aren't quite Beltran's.
They're not.
They're not quite there. But I think he was such a good defender. I like Andrew Jones a lot, so he is on my ballot.
Carson.
No, not on mine.
Yeah, those last 4 or 5 years,
Good player.
he just let himself go.
He
He was
did.
so heavy, and I can't put a guy in the Hall of Fame. How many years did he hit? Forget his total at the end of his career.
Right.
He had seasons where he hit 222. That's not a Hall
He hit
of Fame.
300, it looks like.
One time.
Yes.
And how many years did he hit under 230?
I mean, his first season he played 31 games, so that wouldn't count.
I'm not talking about that. I'm
But
talking
and then
about the heart of
2000,
his
every
career.
year 2006 and beyond, or 2007 and beyond. So 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
He hit under 230.
Yes, every year at the end of his
And
career.
he weighed about 300 pounds during those seasons.
To me, this is the modified Sandy Koufax argument, which is if his career had just ended after 2006, like if he had been hurt, would we have said, dude, this guy's a Hall of Famer? That to me is the Andrew Jones argument.
Yeah.
Except like a short spurt of his dominance.
Sandy Koufax was 7 years, right? Pedro Martinez.
It's like
was
almost
how many?
like totally off topic, but I can't put him in there. But if I'd love to have Hershiser in the Hall of Fame, but I can't. I can't. It's too short.
All right.
He was dominant.
He was dominant for a little while. He gets my vote for the record, Andrew Jones. Now we got to do this quickly because we got to get to Gins here in a second.
Yep.
The top 3 names, one right below the 75% threshold at the moment, Billy Wagner. Of course, these numbers coming from our friends.
Wagner is my number one guy.
Same.
I'd vote for.
Let me give a plug. BBHOFtracker.com, who I'm sure is about to put in Dave Ginsburg's votes as well. Wagner's at 72.5%, Helton's at 79.1%, Rowland is at 81.7%. Stan, which of those 3 are you voting for?
I'm voting for Helton, and I'm voting for Wagner.
I'm
not
voting
voting
for
for
Scott
the guy
Rowland.
who's the number one guy.
How about that?
I got Helton and Wagner too.
Wow.
Wagner's the best left-handed reliever of all time.
All
so he's
time.
the best at what he did. So therefore
His
he's in.
career whip is lower by a tick than Mariano Rivera.
2 no Scott Rowland votes. for the
I have
record.
Rowland.
You have Rowland?
I have Helton.
Uh-huh.
I do not have Billy Wagner.
Oh, what's your argument against Billy Wagner?
They never did in the postseason.
Okay. I have all 3. So I'm the only one of us that has all 3 on my ballot.
Glenn likes everyone.
I have always said, for the record, I would be more of a Big Ten. I don't even think I actually used 10. I think I used 8 on my ballot this year. But I've always been more of a Big Tent guy when it comes to the Hall of Fame. My argument has always been if I think you might be, you probably are. Because I'm not offended by the idea of someone. I would not ever. Let me make this abundantly clear. I'm not saying I would have ever voted for Harold Baines. Like, there's no world in which I would have done that. But I don't have a problem with the idea of someone who's borderline getting in. It's what I said about Jeff Kent. I didn't vote for him, or I wouldn't. But if he gets in, I get it, right? And I might next year say, what the hell am I doing? Jeff Kent's a Hall of Famer.
Right.
I'd vote for him at that point. So I am normally more of a Big Tent when it comes to the Hall of Fame ballot.
So I've got 7 guys on. I've got Helton, Wagner, Pettit, Abreu, Kent, Beltran, and Sheffield.
Well, we're going to find out who Dave Ginsburg has here in 1 second. And the best place to watch and bet on all sporting events is the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. It is a playoff weekend. Just camp out in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. Watch and bet on all of the games throughout the weekend. Reserve your spot right now by emailing events@sportsocialmd.com. I genuinely don't remember how many years we've been doing this with Dave Ginsburg. And this all started just because one year Kyle and I were talking, and I was like, I wonder if I know somebody who votes for the Hall of Fame.
Kyle who?
Kyle Ottenheimer.
Oh,
who,
Kyle
passed away,
Ottenheimer.
unfortunately. It's very tragic. It was in a fiery car accident, just awful. And I just sent an email to Dave, and I've known Dave. You've known Dave for basically, I think, 80 years at this point.
I don't care for the guy. I don't particularly care for the guy.
I've heard that about you. I happen to like him a great deal. He is one of our favorites. Of course, longtime AP sports writer here in Baltimore. And he's done a lot for PressBox over the years as well. He is our friend, Mr. Dave Ginsburg, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Ginsy, it's great to chat with you as always, my friend. I hope we didn't interrupt any lobster eating or gallivanting on the beach today.
No, what happened was I just got finished playing some tennis with Jerry Coleman, one of your friends.
Please tell me you kicked
How much
his
money
ass.
did you win?
It was doubles. So we were on opposite ends, and it was competitive tennis for 90 minutes. I've taken a shower, and I'm all fresh and ready to talk to you guys.
Let's do it. Let's remind everybody that Dave Ginsburg, 1 year ago, his ballot looked like this. Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Todd Helton, David Ortiz, Andy Pettit, and Billy Wagner. Now, of course, a few of those players are not on the ballot any longer. David Ortiz got in. Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds both had their 10 years come up. So, that in mind. Dave, do you happen to know off the top of your head what ballot this is for you? How many of these things you've done over the years?
Gee, I don't know. I became a BBWAA member in 1994, so I guess we could do the math. And,
28 or 29 years, yeah.
Yeah.
I
know
know
the first time I voted was Babe Ruth and Honus Wagner.
A highly controversial ballot that was, by the way. Highly controversial.
Ask him the question about the 3,000 hits of Yankees.
Oh, okay. Stan wants to give you a trivia question. Name all of the career Yankees. Like, not guys that just showed up for a cameo, but guys that you associate as a career Yankee that reached the 3,000 hit career mark.
Man, that you have totally got me here. I guess Jeter made it.
Yes.
Yeah. And then there's Babe Ruth, no. Lou Gehrig, no. Mickey Mantle, no. Yogi Berra, no. Joe DiMaggio, no. Derek Jeter's the only one.
Yeah, that's the only one that could came to mind because those guys back then, I mean,
Babe didn't play enough offensively. He was a pitcher for a number of years,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
Mantle was hurt all the time. It's hard to imagine DiMaggio didn't, but DiMaggio didn't make it to the majors like when he was a kid or anything. He was a little older, I believe.
All right.
Yeah,
anyway.
and he didn't go until he was 40 like guys are doing now either.
That's a great point.
He walked away at 35.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Somebody brought up Dave Winfield. He's not a career Yankee, but I get it. You do kind of associate him with the Yankees because he was there.
He and Boggs are the
right.
two guys. Yeah.
All right, Dave Ginsburg. For 2023, how many votes did you put in for the Baseball Hall of Fame?
Okay, well, I'm gonna start it by saying this. Some people returned blank ballots. And I understand that because I don't see a sensational class. I mean, last year you had plenty of big names, and I think Ortiz certainly deserved it, and I can see why others did not vote for Bonds and Clemens. But I voted 5 people in.
5 people, and one of them is not Mike Messina, correct? Once again, you son of a bitch, you left him off again, didn't you?
The 1 year he got in, I promised the next year I was going to vote him in because, sometimes these guys, they deserve to wait a little bit. And, some I didn't think Mariano or Jeter deserved to wait too long. So,
And I
those
know,
guys will.
or Cal Ripken, for example, who I know you voted
Cal,
in pretty
I
quickly.
mean, I can understand Cal was total first ballot, and I think one person didn't vote for him on principle. But I don't know. He to me exemplifies what a first ballot Hall of Famer should be.
And
is Cal.
you did reveal to me, unbelievable, you didn't vote for J.J. Hardy either, which just I can't believe. I can't believe you didn't vote for J.J. Hardy.
Are you, David? Are you late to the Billy Wagner party?
Hang on, he hasn't said who he's voted for yet.
Okay.
So let's let him say who he's voted.
Okay, I apologize.
Let's get to
I
that first.
Okay, guys, do remember I voted for him last year.
Right, but go ahead.
I had some reservations. I mean, I voted for him this year as well. We can start just on him, and we'll get to the few others. But yeah, am I late for it? Some people had him right off the bat. He certainly has some qualifications, and particularly as a left-handed reliever. But I think he deserved it last year, this year, 7-time All-Star. He's got some great numbers. If you voted for him every single year he's on the ballot, I'm not going to argue with you. But I think there were better relievers, and that's why I didn't think he was, warranted first or second.
Okay, but he is on. We confirm he is back on the ballot this year for Dave Ginsburg. Yep. Billy Wagner is the first vote. The next name on your ballot is who?
Well, let's go with the three that I picked again. And I still am behind on the Andy Pettitte bandwagon. I realize that he's been associated with steroids, but a long-time tremendous Yankee with a .626 winning percentage. For reference, Palmer was .638. And he has 19 postseason wins, most in baseball history. And most postseason innings for that matter. 44 starts in the postseason. I just think we've all seen what Justin Verlander has done in the postseason, and Andy Pettitte is the anti-Verlander come October. So I put him in as well. Just to put it
in perspective, Gins, 44 starts is almost like a season and a half of starts.
That's
fair. That's unbelievable. Yep.
Yeah. And, I mean, of course, we're not just talking World Series. It's postseason. Postseason is longer than what it used to be. But still, I mean, to me, that shows his consistency and the way he stayed healthy all these years. He was a 30 to 35 start guy virtually every season. And I just think he warrants a place in the Hall of Fame.
Next, you another carryover from your ballot last year.
Correct. The final carryover is Todd Helton. Now, people can argue about all he did was play in friendly Coors Field in Colorado, but he really assembled some tremendous numbers away from Coors as well. I'm not going to go into those specifically, but 5-time All-Star, 3 Golden Gloves, and 4 Silver Slugger awards. I think it's time for Colorado to get some guy in there. They've been around for 25, 30 years. And I think Todd Helton's, I forgot. I believe, and I don't have it in front of me, but I think he had a .316 lifetime batting average. That is awesome. And he hit .372 one year. I like Todd Helton. So that's why I voted him in.
I don't have an argument against Todd. The only argument against Todd Helton is the Colorado thing. That's it. But I'm with you. And yes, he did finish as a career .316 hitter, a career .414 on base percentage guy. Todd Helton's a hell of a baseball player. I'm with you on that. Now that means there would be 2 names that are new to Dave Ginsburg's ballot this year.
That's correct. And you know what? Here's what I did. I finally conceded to put Gary Sheffield in the Hall of Fame.
So tell me about the thought there.
Well, the thought is he's not really he wasn't a great teammate, and he wasn't there were steroid rumblings around him for sure, but there's no doubt. But as you know, with me voting for Clemens and Bonds last year, I mean, I'm a little bit forgiving for steroids, which is not to say that might ever forgive Alex Rodriguez for his usage. But I think Sheffield has some tremendous numbers, and he's waited long enough. This guy is not a first, second, third ballot guy. But at this point, with a 292 lifetime batting average, 509 career homers, 8 100 RBI seasons, and a 9-time All-Star, it's pretty hard to ignore. I mean, and I don't think that his steroid association was as blatant as many of the others. So, look, if anyone could argue his, I guess his off-the-field demeanor, like I said, not a great teammate, but his numbers are Hall of Fame worthy.
And that's a pickup for Gary Sheffield, which is relevant because this is his second to last ballot that he will be on. He's in his 9th year of eligibility. So that number
I'm sorry, Glenn. I'm sorry to interrupt you. But, yeah, that was what I was thinking.
Yep.
He's waited. He had to wait. He deserved to wait. And, for some, I'm sure he'll not be on their ballot ever. But I think in the ninth crack at it, with those numbers, put him on my ballot. He probably won't make it, and I'll probably give him that one more shot next year.
All right, last one. So you said there were 5. One
Yep.
more new name. Could be somebody that's on their first ballot. Could be somebody that you picked up. Who's the 5th name on your Hall of Fame ballot, Dave Ginsburg?
A first balloter, Carlos Beltran. Not a steroid guy, but certainly in the middle of that sign-stealing scandal. And that was something I considered heavily. But to me, while it's cheating, it was not a selfish move. It was a team-oriented type of thing. It wasn't like he was banging the drum in the dugout. But that would be the argument against Carlos Beltran. Certainly not his number. His Rookie of the Year, 9-time All-Star, over 162 games. He averaged 27 homers and 99 RBIs. Really good numbers. Again, if you want to punish him for being, admittedly, he admitted it, but apologized for it in that sign-stealing scandal with the Astros, then I respect anyone's decision to keep them off their ballot.
Gens, it just went to MLB Trade Rumors, and the fact that you've announced that you're for Carlos Beltran is leading. It's like that lead
the top story now. How about
Yeah,
that? How about that? Significant.
Unbelievable.
So let's go over the ballot again. Beltran, Helton, Pettit, Sheffield, Wagner. Those are your 5 votes for the Hall of Fame this year.
Those are. And, I'm certain there were some omissions. I'm just going to say that a lot of people like Scott Rowland, not that huge a fan of his 281 lifetime batting average, if it was that, and didn't make 300 homers, I believe. So I wasn't that impressed.
All right, so let's cover a couple things, right? This is where I pretend to be a journalist for a second. I put on my fedora cap, and we do our best here.
You certainly are, Glenn. No matter what.
Oh, and he says a lot of things. Trust me. He says, not just to you, he says them flatly to me sometimes. You bring that up about Rowland, and yet Rowland finished with a 70.1 career WAR. Obviously, we know because he was just an ungodly outstanding defensive player. You did vote for Carlos Beltran, who has the exact same 70.1 career WAR. So I guess take me through, why does the offense to you matter more than the prodigious nature of Scott Rowland as a defensive player?
Well, I'm not to say that it doesn't matter, and Gold Gloves are important to me, as I noted with Helton getting 3 of them. And yes, he definitely has a glove. Just wasn't, over the course of his entire career, 300. I guess I was a little turned off. I'm sort of a homer guy. 316, not outstanding, and he really he had quite a fade towards his latter 2 seasons. Of course, he was with Cincinnati, which wasn't competitive, and he had a few injuries to deal with. Last 5 seasons, topped 100 games only once. Last 4. I don't know. I mean, Rowland's okay. I just don't think he's ready to be on my ballot.
Could you see yourself voting for him if he doesn't make it? And it's going to be borderline this year, but if he doesn't make it, could you see yourself voting for him in the future?
I absolutely could. He's got serious qualifications. He played for 17 solid years, and I'm not undermining a 281 lifetime batting average. do like that a lot. And his Gold Gloves, a lot of All-Star games, just wasn't ready to put him on yet. I don't think he's in the same category as the 5 guys that I did vote in. And I realize you get to vote 10, and I think 5 might be the most I've ever picked. And I wasn't ready to put Rowland in that category yet. I have nothing against Scott Rowland's qualifications. I just thought there are others there are at least 5 that have better qualifications than he does.
Gins, I'm just curious. I'm moving all over the map a little bit, but with Billy Wagner, your reasons that you weren't earlier to the dance, and I'm not trying to make fun of you or anything. 903 innings, gave up like 601 hits or something like that, and in 903 innings had like 1196 strikeouts, and the WHIP is tiny bit lower than Mariano's.
I can't argue with a 2.31 lifetime ERA. I certainly. Maybe you know what? I will say maybe. Admittedly, I'm late on the bandwagon.
Okay,
I just catch here. I don't know how many years has he been on it, guys, because I just didn't feel like he was a first ballot.
This is his 8th ballot. Yeah,
this is his 8th ballot.
His 8th ballot. Yeah.
And you had him last year. I mean, you had him last year. I think a lot of people were a little bit late. And I'm not saying I was on him the first year, but I've been on him now for about 3 years. And when I go back and look at his numbers, they are absolutely staggering. I don't know of another pitcher in baseball who has that kind of hits versus innings pitched numbers. And with the strikeouts. Just remarkable.
I thought you were going to fight with him about Jeff Kent, actually. I thought that was going to be the one you were going to...
That is the one
which is a bit more relevant, obviously, because it's his final ballot for this is number 10.
8 years he drove in over 100 runs. Admittedly, they were played most of those seasons with Barry Bonds, but remarkable. 290 hitter, lifetime. Did he ever snub you or anything? The rumor is he was such a jackass that a lot of writers never could warm to the thought of helping him get into the Hall of Fame.
Well, he never did, and let's keep in mind that although there is interleague play now, he was really mostly an NL guy.
Yep.
And, I can't remember if ever I saw him in town, except maybe, in
Toronto, early in his career with Toronto. Yeah.
And he had a 39-game stint with the Indians in '96, but that be that.
Yeah.
Good player. I just don't. I don't know. I just didn't think. Again, I'm just not sure. He had one nice stretch. He started in. He wasn't an All-Star until '99, and he made it 5 times. But not. I never really appreciated his glove. I didn't think it was bad. I just didn't think it was awesome. He had a nice stretch, but it took him a while to get rolling.
No question about it.
He was great for seven strong years from, I guess, 97 to 04. That's 8 years. But I just thought the overall body of work. I think he put up a lot of those numbers, homer-wise, because he played a long time, 17 years.
Let me just ask you, was there ever, forget the fact you really didn't know him or brush up against him, did your vote on him was it ever impacted by a couple other writers that said he was a jerk or something, or was it just simply you didn't see him play as much, probably?
I'm going to go with the latter.
Okay.
I don't know if being a jerk, I mean, I'd heard some stories.
I mean, you like Craig Heist. You like Craig Heist,
Yeah, my jerk with Heisty is very high. So, I've got some pretty. Look, Albert Bell, the biggest jerk ever. No one's ever going to approach that status. So, Jeff, a nice enough guy as near as I know, but I really didn't encounter him much. And yeah, I got to be honest, with him being in the NL and playing a lot for the San Francisco and the Dodgers, unfortunately for us, we don't really get to see or hear about those guys because all their games are played late at night. By the time they play their next one, we're already in the next day. I mean, I just didn't get a lot of Jeff Kent as a, over the late 1990s and 2000s.
And to be fair, Dave did vote for Barry Bonds last year. Clearly, he's willing to vote for guys that aren't good dudes.
Right.
Clearly, that's the case. Two things really quickly for me, Dave, if I could. You bring up the steroid thing and warming a little bit, but you did, as you pointed out, leave Alex Rodriguez off. You also still have Manny Ramirez off the list. Alex Rodriguez is only a second year on the ballot. There's a lot of time there, but Ramirez is getting deeper. Could you see yourself softening at all when it comes to Manny Ramirez?
You know, the thing about Manny Ramirez is, the Manny being Manny thing. It wasn't just steroids. He wasn't. I thought he was very all about Manny type of thing. He wasn't a really good teammate. I believe there was a time he was in the showers when the game was still being played when he was with the Dodgers. I thought he was a all about me type of player, and I thought that he was not a very good teammate, and I just he got burned twice for steroids, suspended twice, and I'm not really sure I'm going to soften up on that.
Okay.
Because he's got a couple of things going for him beyond steroids. Just a terrible fielder and not a very good teammate from all I've read. Obviously never been in the clubhouse, but he got into a fight with someone. It's just not my type of guy.
Hey, real quick, my last question for you is, and I know it's too late this year, you've submitted your ballot. Please take a look, and I'm late to the party on him too, and I'm not saying it's a slam dunk. Look at the body of work of Bobby Abreu. It's absolutely remarkable when you think of the player and then you take a cold hard look at the numbers. 400 stolen bases in his career.
Well, yeah, and
I mean, look at the hits, the batting average. I know he's not a slam dunk, but I just think he deserves more than 29% of the vote.
You might be right. I sort of thought he hit more home runs than 288.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, I see a lot of he played a lot of over 150 games a year, and to me that means something.
Yep.
You're there for your manager every time. Every time he's filling it out.
Yep.
He did have some very good seasons, and I will consider that. Just a couple of all-star picks though, but still, Stan, it's not a bad call there.
Yeah. It's
he
just
averaged 90 over 160.
It's just interesting with the if you look at who's in the Hall of Fame, I don't know that you'll find many 400 homer, 288 homer, 400 stolen bases, and I'm not saying they're equal in value, but that's a pretty special talent package he had. So anyway,
I agree. You know what? I don't remember him being that speedy.
Right.
Yeah.
It is funny.
He wasn't, you don't look at him and go, man, I just didn't really, 400 steals, you caught me by surprise.
I
there.
think much of his stolen bases were more the fact that he was smart than they were just he was Ricky Henderson.
Yeah, right, naturally.
He just really was smart. And I'll bet you his stolen base percentage of successful steals very high. That's my opinion.
Dave Ginsburg.
Yep, that's
yeah.
looking.
The ballot again, Carlos Beltran, Todd Helton, Andy Pettitte, Gary Sheffield, and Billy Wagner.
Good
Those
ballot.
are his
Good
5
ballot.
votes for the Hall of Fame. Ginsy, love you,
Okay.
brother.
The ones I excluded, I'll be hearing about it on Twitter. Boys.
Oh, I have no
All
doubt
because
that
of this program.
right, 100 fan bases are about to come after you for whatever reason. And it's like the Scott. I think I already saw a Scott Rowland fan trying to get after you this morning.
Yeah.
So
Oh, it's on.
you'll have that.
Love you, Gins.
Hey, man, guys, thanks for having me.
And I
look
love
forward to doing
I love Heisty too if he's listening.
Thank you.
He's sleeping. We know that.
That's probably true. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. We'll talk soon, all
Okay.
right?
Thanks, gents. Talk to you later.
All right.
There you go, Dave Ginsburg, his Hall of Fame ballot for 2023. By the way, next year, I think Adrian Beltre, really the only
Slam dunk.
like
He's a slam
for
dunker.
sure first-year guy that you would say. I think Chase Utley's on the ballot next year. There's There's Joe Mauer, I think maybe. Is Joe Mauer next year? Joe Mauer's next year. Jose Batista's next year, but Bartolo Colon is next year. But I think that Adrian Beltre is really the only.
I wonder if Rufnet Odor would vote for Jose Batista.
I don't think that he would be on the first ballot. I don't think it would work out that way. Might have to wait a few years.
Just one more thing on Jeff Kent. I mean, he had the most homers ever as a second baseman, second highest slugging percentage ever as a second baseman behind Rogers Hornsby. I think he's a Hall of Famer. I mean, he's one of the greatest second basemen.
You said that already.
I'm just very disappointed that he's not going to make the ballot this year.
He's not gonna. He
needs 91% of the.
He's not gonna come close to getting to 75%. I think the real interesting part will be. My phone decided to start playing.
Well, is that Jeff Kent highlights?
I don't know if it's Jeff. I don't know what my phone has been doing because it's done that a lot recently. I don't know what it is that we're saying that's making my phone say, "Here, let me play a video for you now."
It's an app I have on my
is that what it
iPhone.
is that talks to mine?
Play Glenn. It's called Play Glenn.
So weird. All right, very good. Thank you to Dave Ginsburg for doing that again this year. We always appreciate the fact that he doesn't have
good
to do
segment.
that.
Good segment.
I enjoy the conversation for sure. All right, today's show is also brought to you by PressBoxOnline.com/offers. You can cash in on the Ravens-Bengals primetime wildcard game. Go to PressBoxOnline.com/offers. Sign up and bet $20 with Caesars Sportsbook and automatically get $100 in additional free bets. Just bet $20. Get another $100 to play with. Go to PressBoxOnline.com/offers now to start winning. Carson's pissed off about all the votes that Dave gave out. He's just giving out 5 votes over here. Carson's like,
steaming.
The hell's that all about?
Ruining the game of baseball.
Young Utes, Tidbit, Tubular, and the Tyus Bowser Show when we come back in. Glenn Clark Radio.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of PressBox is available now, and it's our annual Best Of issue. On the cover, we recognize Orioles catcher Adley Rutschman as our 2022 Mo Gabba Sports Person of the Year, and he sits down with us to discuss how his arrival in Baltimore was simultaneous with the Birds' turnaround. Also inside, we recognize the top people, performances, and moments of the year throughout the local sports scene. PressBox is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores, and you can always find the entire edition as well as the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
Experience the best in Kamado Grilling, a complete outdoor cooking appliance. The Ginsu Kamado Grill allows anyone to sear, grill, bake, and smoke all types of food. Designed for efficiency and function, the Ginsu Kamado Grill upholds the enduring legacy of the iconic Ginsu brand. The Ginsu Kamado Grill is perfect to cook all year round, is great for parties, and ideal for tailgating with your friends. Reserve your Ginsu Kamado Grill today at ginsugrills.com and get $100 off on your pre-order when you use the promo code TAILGATE. That's ginsugrills.com. Reserve yours today.
That first sip. That first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
The Baltimore County Police Department is hiring. Entry-level officers start at over $60,000 and over $64,000 for lateral officers, with $10,000 signing bonuses available. Plus, cadets start at over $32,000. Great benefits are available like medical, dental, and vision insurance, tuition reimbursement, 15 sick days per calendar year with no limit, career advancement to more than 20 specialized units, and more, with further incentives for military service members and veterans. A passion for service, a career for life with the Baltimore County Police Department. Find out more at joinbaltimorecountypd.com or call 410-887-5542. Must be a United States citizen, have a valid driver's license, and a high school diploma or GED equivalent.
Check out Jeremy Kahn's daily picks at PressBoxOnline.com as he tries to find you daily winners. And speaking of winners, here's a man who once won a media curling contest, and I don't think anything else. He's Glenn Clark.
UMBC basketball home for a pair of games this holiday weekend. Tomorrow they host Maine at 1 o'clock, and then on Monday a late afternoon, early evening kind of, I don't know if you call it a matinee. What do you call that when they play at 5 o'clock?
That's early evening.
Yes, exactly what I was saying. I don't know if there's a name for it.
I'll be there though. So
which one?
The 5
on Monday?
Yes, on
Excellent.
Monday. We're gonna do. My brother and I gonna do a Towson UMBC doubleheader.
What time is
Towson
Towson?
plays at noon on Monday.
Well, look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. So a cool opportunity
Go
for you to
across
check
the
out.
Beltway.
I don't think you'll be able to make that work tomorrow because I think Towson's at 3 tomorrow and UMBC's at 1. So, but UMBC home tomorrow against Maine at 1 o'clock and Monday against Hartford at 5 o'clock. Great opportunity for you to get out and check out the Retrievers. Get your tickets right now to spend game day at the Peak by going to umbcretrievers.com. I guess this is the last time before you go back to school for Young Utes.
Dang, it's sad, isn't
Oh,
it?
man. Carson's got to head back down to Mississippi. And then who knows? Maybe he'll show back up here again at some
Glenn,
point.
you're just gonna see me like in like early or late, early May.
I'll
see me walking.
I'll
onto
be
the
happy
door.
to see you, my friend. I'll be very happy
He's
to
a
see you.
natural, this guy.
We
Very
love
good.
Carson.
Very
We
good.
Thank you,
I said
Dad.
yesterday on Twitter, I hope that look, I would love to hire him. If I don't, I hope somebody else will steal him out from under me before I get
Thank
that
you,
opportunity too. Young Utes, what's going on in the world of the young besides the chicken tender store opening, which every young person I know was freaking the hell out about yesterday. Everyone. And apparently they're coming to other places in the state of Maryland as well.
Yeah, there's one in like Westminster area.
And I think one going
this guy.
to
I'll buy
one
this
going
guy.
to Harford County or something like that. I heard all sorts of things about the chicken tender store yesterday. But besides that, what else do the young people care about?
So I think this is 2014 or 2015. There's this meme that became super.
Is this the
viral.
Popeyes
Yeah,
kid?
so it's like a kid standing by the drink machine at Popeyes, and
Yep.
you still see it floating around every once in a while. So this kid, you're gonna have to forgive me because I'm gonna probably mispronounce his name.
Probably, yes. Stan, have you ever seen a picture of this young man on the internet? This was a very popular picture of a young man. It was all over Twitter. This is a very famous meme.
I do not recall that.
Okay, all right.
that
It's a
picture.
very famous meme. We believe his name is Ernest Collin, but
something
yes,
like that.
yes.
So this kid just somehow got found, and it comes. Turns out that he actually plays Division II football, and he scored an NIL deal with Popeyes.
It's a great.
So Popeyes sponsors him now, and they did a big post for him, a welcome to the team, and all that stuff.
Somebody found this out. He plays at Lake Erie College. He's
right.
an offensive lineman. He just finished his freshman year, and I don't know who discovered it, but somebody sent out a tweet that said, you know, the kid from the Popeyes meme is now a college football player. So I guess they played in some sort of bowl game or something, but recreated the famous photo of himself
And you can see the correlation
doing the eyeball
there,
thing
absolutely.
at a trophy instead of at.
Do you think Popeyes is really giving him cash or it's trade? It's all trade. Like, hey, we'll give you $10,000 worth of chicken.
I don't know how much they think this advertising has been worth to them over the years. If they think it's been worth, hundreds of thousands of dollars, I think there's a real chance they might have given him cash to be. But yes, sure, they might have very well swept in and said, "Hey, how about you eat for free here for a little while?" And man, I remember being in college. I would have been very excited
I love
for that.
Popeyes.
I would have taken that deal in a heartbeat. Yeah, he sent out a tweet that just said, "I need everyone to go to my Instagram at @DeErnest, repost my recent post, and tag Popeyes. I just want to talk." And within
Boom, here we go.
within days,
NIL
he had
deal.
an NIL deal with Popeyes. It's awesome. It's awesome. It's very. I do love that story.
That's a great story.
Yep.
So the next thing, a lot of young people have become very, almost infatuated with yacht rock. The genre.
Ooh, I can get behind this.
Steely Dan and the Doobie Brothers and that sort of
My
thing.
favorite yacht rock song of all time is "King of Wishful Thinking" by Go West.
Really,
Love that song.
I'm a Dirty Work fan.
Okay, all right.
So, but the young people have become very infatuated with yacht rock and listening to it and talking about it, and it's kind of interesting. People
Do we know why? Is there a story?
There's
as to
like sort of a. I think that I don't know why young people have this thing, and Griffin, you can probably attest to this. Young people have this thing where they like when certain songs make them feel like they're somewhere else, and there's this whole thing of, wow, these songs make me feel like I'm on a
But there's-
boat
but
in
there's
the middle of the
nothing
ocean with all my
There's
friends.
nothing that started it. There wasn't a yacht rock song that played in a TV show or in a movie or something like that.
Not that I know of.
Or was the background to was. This is what I don't understand. I don't know how this became a story then that young people are into yacht rock. This just sort of sounds to me like I want to talk about yacht rock.
Well, if you go on,
how do you spell their name?
No, yacht. It's yacht. Yeah, like a yacht. Yes,
Okay, that's
yeah.
what it,
yacht
you
rock.
said. It makes you feel
It's
like
it's a
you're out
certain
on a
it's
boat.
an 80s vibe.
Right.
There is a genre of music that was Christopher Cross and like that
Yeah.
was just sort of out on the water for the day. Some music you could play in the background.
Sailing,
You could go that way, yeah, absolutely. And so we've associated it with yacht rock over the years. And there was an XM channel that was like yacht rock, whatever, 87 or something like that. There's a band that travels around this area called Yacht Rock Review that just plays famous yacht rock songs. Like I just wonder why young people suddenly discovered yacht rock.
I feel like it's because of movies and like TV shows that I feel like
But anything
play
in
the
particular?
songs. Well, I'm thinking maybe Guardians of the Galaxy, just like that kind of music.
It was more like I feel like 80s. I don't know. Maybe that some of
Yeah.
those songs might qualify
Also,
as yacht rock
Sopranos,
songs.
I feel like kind of uses a lot of
That was a long
classic
time
rock.
ago, Griffin.
Yeah, but it kind of made a comeback over the pandemic. Like young people like myself
Screening it
started
again?
watching it. Yeah,
It's interesting. I would like to know more about why
that's my theory.
young people suddenly found themselves. I feel like Michael McDonald could qualify in this.
Yeah, I know there's no dance trend or anything behind it. People are just starting to listen to yacht rock.
I'm in favor of
I'm
it. For
for
the
it.
record.
I don't mind it.
I'm in favor of it. I do enjoy it. Not all the time, but I do enjoy some yacht rock. And number 3,
The last one.
this is the final one.
last
Well, for
one.
now.
It's
anyway,
for now.
It's not
just for now.
It's
Just-
not.
that's
It's
right.
not goodbye. It's just see you later. That's all it is.
Exactly.
Right.
So this is a big time trend of discussion, and people are posting about it on social media. It's what would your last meal be? If you had one last meal, what would it be? And it's kind of like a mix and match thing where it's like, okay, I want this sandwich from this place, but I want the fries from this place, and I want this chocolate milkshake from this place, and you mix and match. So I was
what's
wondering,
your-
maybe,
yeah.
maybe we could all do our last meal.
All right. What's your answer? You're the one who prepared it. It gives us a second to think.
I want a cheesesteak with onions and Cooper Sharp from Angelo's Pizzeria in Philadelphia.
Okay.
And then I want fries from Brookside Market with honey mustard.
Okay.
And then I want one single carne asada taco from Taco Shop in Oxford, Mississippi. And then I want a chocolate milk and a Dr. Pepper.
Well, you really thought this thing out, man. Like you really went deep with this whole
You
thing.
keep eating like that, it won't be long.
But it's his last meal. He's gonna be dead.
Right, this
Yeah,
is-
he's gonna be
your
dead. That's the
last-
point. Eat whatever the hell you
I
want. You're dying. You got an idea for your last meal, Stan? You have a.
I'm believe it or not, I'm a huge hot dog and beans.
You
fan.
do love. I didn't know you about the beans side of it. Would you be willing to consume a pork and beans popsicle by chance?
No.
No,
Absolutely
oh, that's
not.
a real shame.
I knew that was coming
It's
up.
going to be something that's going to be
I don't
happening
make-
soon.
I don't make food bets. No.
All right, but
I'll bet almost
you're
anything
saying
else.
you're saying
but-
they tell you, Stan, tonight's the night. I'm so sorry. It's your last night on Earth.
Yeah,
You just want hot dogs and beans.
it would be fine with me.
Man.
This is essentially like what
And then
our
I'll take a coffee milkshake.
A coffee milkshake.
That's a
All right.
wild
It's an
combination.
With some
interesting
good
final meal.
with some whipped cream on it,
Wow. All right. All right. Very good.
and a bowl of Costas and crab soup.
I do love. I would go half and half though. I would go.
I'm a Maryland
I
crab.
I like the spice of the.
I know
with
a
the
lot of
cre- I
people
like
do.
the.
Jane
I like the
Jane
comment.
likes it.
The issue I have, and they do it well at Costas. They don't do it as well at some places. Some places you get too much of the I don't need all the vegetables. I really just want the spice of the crab soup
Right.
with the cream of crab, which I love so bad. I want that spice with the cream of crab. That's the way I
And
want
you
my.
want more crab, of course.
I do want more
taking
crab.
the
Yes,
place of the less vegetables,
exactly right. Now I understand why businesses can't do that because they would have to charge me $40 for my soup at that
That's
point.
your last meal.
It is my last meal. Give me what I want at that point. Griffin, do you have a?
Yeah, I think it'd be a Sunday afternoon. Orioles are playing, getting their asses kicked,
Mhm.
and I got a whole ton of steamed crabs in front of me, some light beer, and I'm just
Good one.
going
Your
crab
last.
for
Hang on, it's
3
your last meal.
hours.
You couldn't prefer that they win the game?
I
Why-
mean, well, it's
why do
a
they have to
Sunday.
be getting their
It's a
asses
Sunday.
kicked?
The Orioles
they don't
never
tend
win
to.
on
They don't tend to
Sunday.
win on
Who are
Sundays.
they
You're not
playing?
wrong.
So
Probably
we
the
can
Blue
bet on the
Jays.
game?
Yeah.
How
You
does
know
the
ahead
game
of
turn
time.
out?
It's probably the Blue Jays, and they're just losing.
It would be all barbecue for me. It would be a barbecue heavy meal. I would Rodney Scott's down in Charleston would probably be the place that I would just get one of those like massive platters of everything, ribs, brisket, the whole deal. I just want all of it. I would eat all the carbs that I have in eating, so I would definitely there'd be a lot of cornbread involved. There'd be an awful lot of cornbread. Some cornbread souffle, by the way.
I got some grandma Utz also on the side. I'm snacking on while I'm eating my crab.
I have to have a little, now that I think about it, with the hot dogs and baked beans
Yeah.
and the chocolate and the coffee milkshake and the crab soup. Got to have a little bit of brisket to go out.
I mean, come on, man. Come on. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I'm barbecue. Like, look, this is the last thing I'm ever going to taste in my life. To me, food is barbecue. Like, that's when I think the way that people think of steak dinners. And I love a good steak dinner. Don't get me wrong.
Yep.
But I feel that way about barbecue. I would have to think about a good Italian dinner at some point.
You also love your like New Orleans cuisine.
Oh God, I don't even think about going down to New Orleans. Do I get that option? Can I
some
just
char-grilled oysters?
Oh my God, from Drago's? Holy
Drago's,
hell,
yes.
man! I lick the plate.
I remember
didn't even
that.
think
Oh,
about that.
goodness.
I do love New
Remember
Orleans
we went
food.
to that restaurant that
We
opened?
did. The one that was briefly there in White
Yeah.
Marsh that I enjoy. I do love.
Didn't
God,
quite
some-
make it. but
Oh
it was a
God,
good
I didn't even
place.
think about the rabbit jambalaya at Coops. Son of a bitch! I would absolutely need the rabbit jambalaya from Coops. I needed more time for this question. I need you to give me this at the front. Yeah,
And
give me at the
remember, you
front.
don't have to worry about losing weight.
100%. I'm gone. Yes,
You're
I'm gone. I'm dead.
Gone in 60 seconds.
100%. That's a good one. Well done, Carson. Well
Thanks.
done. Let's get a tidbit. Tidbit brought to you today by the print issue of PressBox. It is our best of issue of PressBox, including Adley Rutschman, our Mo Gabba Sports Person of the Year, on the cover. Go get it right now at your neighborhood Royal Farms. Any of the hundreds of locations around town where you find PressBox. You can read it all at PressBoxOnline.com.
It's, of course, a Hall of Fame, themed Glenn Clark radio edition
Yes.
today. So, did a Hall of Fame tidbit. I wanted to ask you guys if you could name the 14 players. So there have been 14 players that have 96% of the vote or more. Can you name the 14
Tom
guys?
Seaver.
Tom Seaver is
Cal
on the list.
Ripken.
Cal Ripken is on
Derek,
the list.
Derek Jeter.
Derek Jeter, of course, on the list.
Mariano Rivera, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Schmidt.
Mike Schmidt, yes.
George Brett.
George Brett, yes.
How many more do we have?
Willie Mays.
Willie Mays
There were a
did
few
not.
more, unfortunately, racists
Only-
voting.
yeah.
at the
Al
vote.
Only 94.6%.
How about Kirby Puckett?
Not Kirby Puckett.
Al Kaline.
Not Al Kaline.
How about Nolan Ryan?
Not, or yes, Nolan Ryan.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's what I thought.
Reggie Jackson.
Not Reggie Jackson.
Mariano Rivera.
We already got that one.
Hank
yeah.
Aaron.
Hank Aaron is, of course, in the Hall of Fame and does have 97.8% of the vote, so yes.
Alright. How many are we missing? How many more were there?
1, 2,
got about
we got 8. We've gotten
four.
8 of them.
Christy
5.
Mathewson.
That's
I
a
mean,
good guess.
It might not even.
Yeah, that's a good guess, but he is not on there.
Ken Griffey.
Yes, Ken Griffey is at 99. That is there are 3 guys that have 99. He is one of them. Kenny Griffey and Derek Jeter and Mo Rivera.
I said there are 4 more now.
I believe
1. Yeah.
2, 3, 4.
Well, Babe Ruth.
5. 5 more. 6 more.
Babe Ruth? Babe
and not Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth.
Sandy
Only
Co-
95%.
Sandy Koufax.
Not Sandy Koufax.
Are we?
What about Jackie Robinson?
Not Jackie.
Jim
Robinson.
Palmer.
Not Jim Palmer.
Tony Gwynn.
Yes.
Nice.
Tony Gwynn in 2007 got 97.6.
Not Jim Palmer.
Ty Cobb.
Yes, Ty Cobb on the very first Hall of Fame ballots, 98%.
Roy Halladay.
Not Roy Halladay.
Ricky Henderson.
Ricky Henderson was just shy, 94.8.
Robin Yount.
Good guess, but not. 96.
Roberto Clemente.
Not Clemente.
They were tough voters.
Tony Perez.
No, not Tony Perez.
Greg Maddux.
There you go. Greg Maddux. In
Glavine.
2014.
Johnny Bench.
Not Glavine. Yes, Johnny Bench. 96.4. He is
Ted
the last
Williams.
person. Not Ted Williams.
So we got one more that we need to get.
Ted Williams.
I have 2 more.
2 more.
Joe DiMaggio.
Not Joe DiMaggio.
Lou Gehrig.
Not Lou Gehrig.
Rogers Hornsby.
Not Rogers Hornsby.
Jimmy
there's 2 more. Yeah, are they modern or are they?
One of them's pretty modern, and actually they're both pretty. They both got inducted in the last 8 years.
Okay.
What's his name? The Hawk. Andre Dawson.
Not Andre
He
Dawson.
I don't think he was first ballot, was he?
Nah, he wasn't. That's
The
right.
last 8
Chipper Jones.
Yes, Chipper
Chipper
Jones
Jones.
in
Good
2018.
Jim
And
97.
Jim
Who's
Rice.
the last one?
Piazza.
Joe Morgan.
Not Piazza.
Joe
not Joe
Morgan.
Morgan. He was a pitcher.
Randy Johnson.
Randy Johnson.
Nice.
Randy Johnson. 2015, 97.2% of the
bad.
votes.
Not bad. That's good tidbit, Griffin. Good tidbit.
Thank you.
Tidbit was also brought to you today by the all-new Ginsu Kamado Grill. Again, final days for you to use the code TAILGATE and save $100 at ginsugrills.com. Tubular brought to you by PressBoxOnline.com/offers. You can cash in on the Ravens-Bengals primetime wildcard game. Go to PressBoxOnline.com/offers. Sign up and bet $20 with Caesars Sportsbook and automatically get $100 in additional free bets. Just bet $20, get another $100 to play with. Go to PressBoxOnline.com/offers right now and start winning. And I should probably point out that gambling can be fun, but you should set a limit and stay within it. And remember, if you or a loved one has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org for free confidential services. Some highlights for the weekend as far as Totally Tubular is concerned. Hey, don't forget, by the way, this is the first ever year where if any of these playoff games go to overtime, touchdown does not win. Both teams are guaranteed to get the ball in overtime. So if Ravens-Bengals Sunday night goes to overtime,
be careful with the unders.
And then what happens after that? The
After
next team
that-
to score any score.
it would give. This is the first time ever there might be strategy to the coin flip, because the second team, if you give up a touchdown,
Right.
and you go down and you score a touchdown, you would have the option of trying to go for 2 and ending the game right there, or giving it back to the other team, knowing that if they score
They
again,
can just
now
kick
it's
the extra
over.
point.
It's just, or even if they kick a field goal, like all you're guaranteed is the one possession.
Okay.
So it becomes sudden death after that. So it's an interesting scenario that presents itself. Do you still want the ball first, or do you want to get the ball second, knowing that if you score the touchdown, you could decide we're going to go for 2 and end the game right here? That's an interesting scenario that could play out this weekend. Tomorrow, Fox for 49ers Seahawks at 4:30. NBC's got Chargers Jaguars at 8:15. Of course, Sunday, Dolphins Bills at 1 on CBS. Giants Vikings 4:30 on Fox, and NBC for Ravens Bengals at 8:15. College basketball this weekend, as we mentioned, tomorrow UMBC's at home against Maine at 1 o'clock on ESPN3. Navy's at Loyola at 5. Towson's at home against Monmouth at 3. That game is on CBS Sports Network, so you can watch it on TV. And then the big one, Morgan-Coppin tomorrow, 4 o'clock at Coppin for that. Maryland plays on Sunday as they take on Iowa, 4:30 on Big Ten Network on the road. The Australian Open gets underway on Sunday night, 7 o'clock on ESPN. Unfortunately, no Carlos Alcaraz in the Australian Open, but Novak Djokovic
Injury
for the first time.
or-
Yeah, injury.
Who's winning?
Djokovic is.
He's going to win.
Not only is he the favorite, I want to say, and this is unheard of, I want to say he might be like even money favorite going into the start of a tournament, which you never see. Neil Medvedev would be the only real kind of threat.
Is Nadal playing?
Nadal is playing. Yes,
What about
he is
Sebastian
playing.
Korda?
Probably not going to win the Australian Open, but yes, I know. He's had a couple of good wins
Is
coming into
Kyrgios?
the.
Is Kyrgios playing?
Kyrgios is playing.
And
yes.
what's her name? Osaka is not
Not
playing. She's
no,
pregnant.
She's pregnant. Exactly right. Right story. So yeah, the Australian Open gets underway on Sunday night. Everything else you can find at GlennClarkRadio.com. Non-sports, any highlights?
Of course, Breakpoint series premiere on
I
Netflix.
said highlights.
The Breakpoint is the tennis documentary
Oh,
on Netflix.
okay.
It's like
Well,
it's like from the F1 Drive to Survive.
That's right. I
series.
do remember. Yeah.
And so they'll be focusing on a lot of players.
Yep.
Felix Auger-Aliassime, my
I
favorite
like him,
name.
yes.
Nick Kyrgios, I think, has a big feature in there. I think Francis Tiafoe is also featured in it. Let's see, as well as Sick movie on Peacock. This is a pandemic-themed horror movie.
Okay. Any highlights?
MILF Manor is on Sunday night. Make sure your DVR is set because the Ravens are playing the
I
same
do
time.
think we might have to watch MILF Manor, my friend. I do
MILF
think we might
Manor
have
is
to do
on
that.
TLC. The Last of Us series premiere, based on the video game. This is on HBO Sunday night as well. It looks pretty good. It's got Pedro Pascal.
Okay.
And it's like an post-apocalyptic
Right, if you say so.
zombie-themed thing.
Sure.
The Last of
We'll
Us
go with
on
that.
HBO, yes. And The Mayor of Kingstown, Season 2 on Paramount Plus, also this weekend with Jeremy Renner.
Okay. All right. Very good. Very good.
Did you see that the accident that Jeremy Renner had?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
When I first read about it, I thought it was like he was snowboarding. Yeah, I mean, what's it called? A
snowmobile, yeah.
Had a snowmobile, and he ran into
A tree.
He got run over by a snow removal.
Unbelievable.
14,000 plus pounds went over him. Unbelievable.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God it didn't kill him. It's really remarkable.
Yeah.
Really remarkable.
Did you watch Pale Blue Eye, the Edgar Allan Poe movie?
Yes, I did.
Oh, you did? What did you think, Stan?
I have a few problems with it.
Was it a little slow
but
for
the kid
you?
who played
Harry Mellon.
The kid who played Edgar Allan Poe is just off the charts.
And of course, he was with Christian Bale, so it was fine acting.
I do need to watch it.
It was a little slow.
Okay.
It was a little slow,
All right.
but
All right.
very good performances.
I will. I'm not going to be able to watch it this week because I'll be busy. I don't want to talk about it.
Watch it play it.
Yeah.
Tower of Terror.
I didn't know that the mother was Gillian Anderson.
Oh.
Gillian Anderson's been like everything recently. She was wonderful in.
This woman had such an affect to her character. I go, I know I've seen it, and then my brother mentioned it. It was Gillian Anderson.
I did not know that.
Bale's always great.
She was great in the Netflix show Sex Education. She was wonderful in that show as the mom. All right, now. We did everything? We're good?
So,
okay,
yeah.
we'll get Tyus Bowser before we get out of here. Stan, you will be on with the guys tomorrow morning on the Bat Around?
I'll be on the Bat Around tomorrow morning, and Monday night, it might be pushed to like 6:30. I think we're going to have Matt Blood on.
Okay, from the Orioles.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We look forward to that. Thank you, as always, my friend. At Stan the Fan on Twitter is how you follow
Thank you for
him.
having me.
And Stan's going to do a little more. So just to reiterate to you guys, I am going to be away next week. We are going to use next week. We had some studio things we needed to take care of. So we're going to use next week to take care of those, and then I'll be back the following week and look forward to being back with you as I'm taking the family down to Disney next week. So no shows next week, but Stan will be doing a little more content at facebook.com/PressBoxSports. Ken Zales is going to do some stuff for us as well. So there will be some content as Griffin will be working on the studio. He's rolling his sleeves up and personally trying to take care of all of that. Carson, thank you, my friend. Been great having you back.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
We will
Love it here.
obviously be trying to get you some more things as we continue down the road. But appreciate
I'll be back. Absolutely.
all of your hard work. It definitely does not go unnoticed. We thank you so much for that.
Absolutely.
At Carson Ware with an I.
With an I in
is
it.
how you follow him.
And I'll be back.
Griffin, thank you for nothing.
My brother did say Carson's been his favorite intern since
Really?
I joined the program.
Now, really weird. It just seems like you're taking shots at Micah though directly because it's really only.
This is what my brother.
There's really only been two.
Ernie didn't do a thing.
Like it's
Ernie
really taking a direct shot at Micah.
That's
at
not a
that
direct
point.
shot.
We'll see.
By the way, is my mic still on?
Yes.
Just got to thank my friends at K&S.
Love
Amir,
K&S.
David. They've had my car the last couple of days. I'm getting it back today from that
Love
idiotic
them.
accident that I happened.
Correct.
But they do incredible body work.
Thank you to
K&S, in addition to all the repairs they do on all those foreign vehicles.
And, of course, the Boys of Hand and Calendar is available there as well. Thanks to Stan. Thanks to Dave Ginsburg. Thanks to Rocky Boiman. We'll get it all up in the greatest hits section of the
Oh, my God, it's so good.
tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. Again, no shows next week. We'll be back the following week. Thanks, everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, the Baltimore County Police Department, Problem Gambling, Royal Farms, Costas Inn, Maryland Jockey Club, Great Eights Memorabilia, the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel, Maryland Vascular Specialist, the all-new Ginsu Kamado Grill, UMBC Athletics, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great weekend. Go Ravens, sure. Go all local hoops teams. Duke sucks. We wrap up the week with segment number 3 of the Tyus Bowser Show from this week at Guilford Hall Brewery. Back out here for segment number 3 of the Tyus Bowser Show, PressBox and 105.7 Fan. We're at Guilford Hall Brewery in Station North. Rita and Glenn and your host, Tyus Bowser. This is appropriate for us to wind down the season this way.
Yeah.
Just the three of us,
Just the three
right?
of us. Yeah, that's good.
Thank you again to Kyle Hamilton, who was awesome, came out with us. Of course, want to remind everybody that you can still use the code TAILGATE and save $100 when you order your Ginsu Kamado Grill. Go to ginsugrills.com right now. It is the perfect ceramic tailgate or home grill for searing, grilling, baking, and smoking just about anything. Again, ginsugrills.com. Tyus, Roquan got paid this week.
Understatement.
What are the? And by the way, I think we all support that, right? You're a man who got paid. Maybe not like what he got paid.
I didn't get paid what he got paid, but he got paid.
What's that do? Like, is there a residual effect, like in the locker room, like that you're just so happy for a dude when something like that happens?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely, man. Just number one, just his character and the type of man that he is, and how much pride that he takes in his work, the leader that he is, and just how well he gels with everyone, and how well he's able to communicate and just bring on a good vibe for this franchise, man. And I think he just fits well with this team, and and it shows on film. So I'm definitely happy for this guy, man. So happy that he got paid and got what he deserved. And looking forward to seeing him in purple and black for the next 5 years. So it's gonna
How
be
do you
good.
feel about, like, since he's been here, it feels like from the outside looking in that he's embraced the culture very quickly, that he's, he's
It feels like he was supposed to be
he's
a
supposed to be
Raven
here from the
day one,
beginning, you
right?
know what I mean? And so, like, does that translate to you guys? It just feels like he's always been here, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, it's just about his character, man. I feel like for us as an organization, we pride ourselves on good character, good people who work hard, who does the right things, who's gonna be a leader, on and off the field, and that's just gonna help everyone be better. Whether they're a player, whether they're working upstairs, or whatever the case may be, just helping everyone feel good about themselves and just bringing wins to this organization. So I'm happy to have him here, man, and I'm really happy for him. I really am.
It's awesome,
Yeah,
man.
it's amazing. He had an amazing 24 hours. You got to figure, right? Georgia won the national championship,
Oh, yeah.
and then he got all
He on
that
top of the
money.
world.
So he on top of the world right now. That's a double whammy for him. For sure.
Outside of his championship loss, but other than that, he's talked about that a few times. But he's on the upside.
Yeah,
so he good.
yeah.
By the way, if Houston won a national championship, you totally celebrated like it was your own.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
100%. Like, you might even take credit for it in 20
Shoot,
years.
I'll be celebrating basketball too.
Right?
Every single way. I'm
Num-
like,
number
I was
one.
part of that. You know
That's
what I'm saying?
correct, right?
I helped this. I started this. You know what I'm saying?
Man, they should probably give you a ring if they win it all this year.
No.
I'm gonna start that campaign. You don't have to. I'll do it for you. I'll
Hey,
be
man,
your.
do it, man.
Give Tyus a ring.
Hey, I'm fine with it.
At that point, hopefully you'll have two. At that point, hopefully there'll be a pair of rings.
Lord willing, man.
What are the rules when somebody gets paid? Is there
Like, do y'all make them take y'all out to dinner? Like, I know that that's a rookie thing, but like when somebody gets paid, is it like, I know you got it. You can take me to the Roots, Chris, and get me the $49 deal.
Shoot, he's gonna be in there with the group with Calais and Marcus Peters, where when we go out to eat, it's like, you got this, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't afford this, but I know you definitely can afford it.
So basically, you gonna spend all this money on dinner and then say I can't afford it. You pay it?
Nah, I ain't like that. I'll definitely help out if
Okay.
need be, but I know it ain't gonna hurt his pockets than me.
But there's like in golf, there's a tradition. If you hit a hole in one, you go back to the clubhouse and buy everybody drinks, right?
didn't know
like,
that.
That's the tradition. If you hit a hole in one, because it's kind of luck, right? Like, you kind of pay it forward.
Hold on, you hit a hole in one, and you have to pay.
That is the tradition. If you hit a hole in one, you go back to the clubhouse.
What
and
about the
whoever-
people you with pay for you to get a drink?
No, because
you hit the hole in
But
one.
it's golf, man. It's goofy. It's not like the ball ever drops right down into the hole.
I'm
you
just
got
saying,
lucky. Like
you
gotta-
losing your money for doing something great.
Yeah, but you got to say you hit a hole in one, which is kind of a big deal, right?
But
Like,
you're paying for somebody else.
brother, there are so many traditions in golf that I
It's
can't.
so weird.
I know you're looking at me because I'm a white man, and I'm supposed to
it's-
say I am the
That's
spokesperson
that's
for the
definitely
game
not
of
the
golf.
case.
But I can't do that. I don't understand this sport.
I don't understand it too much. I played it a few times, but I didn't know about that one though.
It is a tradition. I'm saying, is it a known thing? Dude you got a contract. Was there like maybe I get my guys a watch or something? Like, is there anything like that exists? In football?
Yeah, of course. I think like when Judon was here and he was that franchise tag, like during Christmas he did something for the entire outside linebacker group, just getting us, gifts and stuff like that. So I feel like that's definitely a thing where whether it's a defense or even like when Weddle was here, when we made the playoffs and he got that $1 million bonus.
That bonus, right?
He bought pretty much the whole defense a bottle of the Louis 13.
Ooh, that's expensive.
Like name stitched, name carved in there.
That's
like,
cool.
That was dope.
Like different stuff like that. to
That's
where
cool,
yeah.
man.
So look, now that Kyle's not here, did you make him pay for dinner?
Not yet, but
You gonna make him?
Yeah, we definitely gonna get him.
Not like they did that other kid that made it on social media. They tried to say he had to pay 100. Well, he came out and said that was an untrue number and that his teammates did help chip into the bill. But you gonna rack it up a little bit?
I know he's a DB, so I'm sure Marlon and all of those guys will take good care of him when it comes to stuff like that. We normally work within our linebacker group, D line, so. We normally come at the D line.
But there's not a big, like, we've always thought there's a big rookie dinner at the beginning of the year that, like, everybody got to go to, and the rookies have to.
Well, kind of like how we've always done it is, like, by positions.
Okay.
So ever since I got here, it was always like a D-line, linebackers dinner. And then the DBs will have their own dinner, receivers have their own dinner, quarterbacks, things like that. But nothing to where the entire team is there, because I think only the few times that we've actually went out together as a full team was preseason.
And Halloween, right?
Yeah.
And then on Halloween.
Yeah. So.
By the way, there was a request that came in again. The same person that requested the first time did message me last week and said, and I'm sorry, I've forgotten who it was, ask if now that the season's, our show's coming to a close, if you'd be willing to grace us with a little Vanessa Carlton. That request came in again. And you had said, like, maybe, before the year was over, maybe you would do that.
I still think about it.
Oh, man.
I still think about it, man.
I'll try.
I'm in playoff mode right now, so I'm trying to lock in.
Sounds to me like we need to do another show in the near future.
Hey, if we win the Super Bowl, shit, I'll do it.
Y'all heard it.
I'll do it.
You heard him. All right.
Hey, we win that Super Bowl. I don't care.
That's a
I'm going all
promise.
out.
I love that. Hey, Maryland Vascular Specialists, their team of surgeons is Maryland's leaders in ethical arterial procedures. Tyus, I figured as we wind down the shows that we've done, unless, of course, you win the Super Bowl, in which case then we will do another show. I thought we might have some fun.
Okay.
Do a little team superlatives. You've been around these guys all year.
Mm-hmm.
You've gotten to know them. I want to give you a most likely to blank, and you tell me which of your teammates is most likely to fit this bill. All right?
All right.
All right? So, for example, most likely to be so convincing in an argument that you somehow end up switching to their side.
Yeah, who's the lawyer of the group?
The lawyer in the group. I'll probably say Marcus Peters.
Really?
Yes, I'll say Marcus Peters because you could have your own situation. Oh, that look good. But
Tyus just got a pizza. He's
that
really
look good.
excited about it.
But
We're
you
at
could be
Guilford Hall Brewery, by the way.
Yeah, but you could talk about something and then he might be totally wrong, and just the way he talks about it, how he interprets it, you'll just be like, I didn't think of it that way, right? And could be totally wrong. So I definitely.
Can you give us an example of something you've actually changed your mind about because of him?
I can't think of that right now.
All right, but that's good. That's good. That's what I was looking for. Rita, you want the next one?
All right, most likely to not be paying attention when you're when you're talking to them because they're in their phone.
Marlon Humphrey.
You know what?
I mean, he's the social media king over there.
Yeah.
It really does check out, doesn't it?
Yeah. Like I could literally be like, "Hey, Marlon. And, and like, you could already walk on and be like, did somebody just tap me? I'd be like, yeah, that was me. Oh, what's up? And still be on his phone again.
Glenn, I can confirm this too because there's not a time that I've gone to the facility like for media availability and he's not on his phone.
No.
Like everybody else is like taking a shower. He is just sitting there on the phone like this.
I think this was the only one of these that I assumed I knew the answer for, by the way.
It was the easiest answer you probably ever had to give.
No, but in that situation, yes, but when you talk about like just sitting down on the phone, doing nothing, it's definitely J.K. Dobbins. And I've mentioned that to him, and it's a thing that he does now because I let him know, I'm like, bro, J.K., continue to do what you do because when he's always done it, he go out there and ball out.
That's true.
100-yard rushes, I'm like, continue to be you, man. And he'd be like, make sure you keep that music going. But he'd be sitting in his locker for hours, like still have on the same clothes or just chilling. Everybody done already gone and left, and he's still chilling there. So
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You're like, bro, all right, keep going. It's
hey,
working.
keep doing
right?
it, man.
It's working.
I ain't gonna stop you.
You want to do the next one?
All right, this is a good one. Most likely to dramatically exaggerate a story they're telling. So who be lying in there?
Who be lying?
You know the type, like you were there for the story they're telling. You know how it went, but when they tell it,
they kind of,
they're adding a little bit more.
Excuse some of the facts.
Campbell.
Really?
Calais.
Nuh-uh.
Calais be just talking, and he'd be like, well, maybe it wasn't like that, but you know, it's just. I think it's just. I'd be like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. You know, it wasn't. Man, you know, I gotta add a little bit to it, man. You know, I'm like, nah, come on. Definitely Calais, man. He's
Most
funny.
likely to volunteer to let you eat them first if you all were stranded on a deserted island.
So who's the weirdo?
The most selfless. Like the person that is so selfless.
I was wondering where you was going with that.
If everybody's, you know the type.
Because what I said is what you thought, wasn't it? Okay, that's what I thought.
You know the type. This is a person who's like, guys, I understand. You can just go ahead and, I don't need 2 arms. You can have this one.
Like my mind is messed up right now, so I'm trying to like, get back to reality. Can you
Can you repeat?
Just go to the next one, Rita. Just go to the next one.
Okay, so what? Yeah, I understood what Glenn was trying to do, but he's saying, who's the guy? Okay, this is what he's trying to say. Who's the guy that would take the shirt off of his back
That's
for you?
really what I'm trying to say. They're so selfless.
Oh,
You know, Glenn.
that's more-
Yeah, Glenn was all over the place there.
I swear.
I would probably. Selfless.
All right, well.
I would probably. I'll probably put like Roquan, man.
Really?
Yeah, that dude, like he'll look after you.
That's cool.
He always, I'll say him or like Justin Houston.
All right, Rita, try to
I
get
can
us
see
back
Justin
on track.
Houston for
Try to
sure.
get us back on
All
track.
right,
You-
let me get back on track here. All right, so who's most likely to start a fight on your behalf? So who's bout it?
Marcus Peters.
Oh yeah, that's a fact.
Marcus Peters.
That
But,
one
it-
also,
but I think we all know
Yep,
that.
that one also
I
checks
feel,
out.
I feel like that translates to what we all think about him. So you got to give us somebody else.
Okay.
Because you already used Marcus Peters.
yeah, who would we be surprised by? Who's the
Yeah,
guy
that's
that,
a good
that
question.
we would know you want in your foxhole? Like,
I'll probably say like Justin Matabike.
Really?
Yeah, Justin Matabike. I'll probably say Zach Orr. Who else? We got some dudes, man.
We're
who
sending
like
them-
really about that life.
we're sending
Really
all of them
don't.
after.
They really are.
We're to make sure they all walk up and shake
But I know
hands.
Marcus Peters is
Well,
the number
I
one.
think we all can agree
There's
that
no
we
doubt.
think Marcus Peters is the one that's going.
We're
you
sending-
know.
Something happened. He one of the first ones.
We're sending them to shake hands with Jackson Carmen before the game on Sunday. And then I'll give you the final one. Most likely to cry for no reason at all.
To cry for no
You
reason.
know the type that just gets emotional, right? Like for
Who
no
was
reason.
crying on Lion King?
Our guy John Miller admitted he was crying during Lion
See,
King.
I mean, you know, it happens.
Just crying for no reason. We ain't got nobody like that.
I feel like you're protecting somebody.
As he
feel
should.
like-
As
I feel
he
like You're
should.
protecting
Crying for
somebody.
no reason?
Just is an emotional person, like somebody who would start telling you about how much they love you, and they would get emotional about it. You know that type.
Oh, I probably wouldn't cry about it, but he'll definitely like.
Who's the I love you in the group? I love you, bro.
I'll probably say like Calais, Tristan Colon.
Okay.
I'll probably put me in there as well. I'll put me in there
That's
as well.
sweet.
Yeah.
That's sweet. Hey, I love you, bro.
I love you too, man.
Glenn is definitely the I love you
Oh yeah.
person. He will tell you every single time.
And I
I've
do. I
noticed
mean it.
I've noticed it too.
I do. I mean that. I love you. I appreciate. This show has been such a blessing.
It has.
Been fun.
Like,
Great, man.
I truly love coming out here and doing
Yeah.
this.
Appreciate it.
Are you about to cry?
He is.
I might. The man bought me shoes.
He did. Okay.
My wife
All
won't
right.
do that.
All right. I stand corrected. Go ahead and blink them back.
Hey, real talk. This we love doing this, man. We are so grateful that you came out and did another season with us. Hopefully, maybe you never know. 2023, we'll see. You never know how things go. We'd love for that to be the case. We want to thank everybody who came out all season long. We've had a great group of regulars that have been with us all season for the Tyus Bowser Show for 2 seasons in some cases. Jameson, we love you, buddy. Belinda, her family. We love everybody. Thank you. Of course, we love Miss Wanda. We know that. We love that. Tyus, thank you. Go get them on Sunday nights.
Yes, sir.
And then hopefully we'll do one more.
Most definitely.
Thank you to PressBox. Thank you to Great 8's Memorabilia. Thank you to Guilford Hall Brewery. Thank you to Maryland Vascular Specialist, the Ginsu Kamado Grill. We really have enjoyed doing this all season long. And thank you to 105.7 The Fan for partnering with us. This has been the Tyus Bowser Show.